Well then, hi guys. Hey, I'm just gonna say, I guess this is like maybe best case scenario for this team, that they lost this one. But my God, bro, this is just, I am astounded at how bad some players look right now. And it's not even like the obvious of like Levine, looking checked out and everything. It's just that there's just so many bad things happening with this squad right now. And yet the Bulls somehow had a chance to win this one. Like, they had a shot, which I think that should show you just how terrible the Magic also played tonight. But like, I can't, bro, there are just some people talking about how this Bulls defense is like all messed up and everything, and how the only reason why the Bulls got back into this game is because of their defense. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, Stacey King, bro, like, there's some stuff said by Stacey King that I'm just scratching my head when he's talking. But look, man, the Orlando Magic, they didn't score 30 points in a quarter tonight, okay? Like, they did not shoot the ball well. It wasn't the Bulls defense of the reason why, or sorry, it wasn't the Bulls defense is why the Bulls were losing, okay? They scored 12 points in a quarter. That's why they were losing, okay? I honestly just, like, I don't even want to hear about it when it comes to that, oh, well, the Bulls defense is all screwed and everything, and that's the reason why they're losing this game. No, the team is just garbage on the offensive end. Have we just decided to think about that for just a second, please? My God, bro. Any positive takeaway from this game, Duncan? So I'm gonna explain to you what's kind of going on. This game, to me, I'm not gonna even talk about it, really, honestly. I want to talk about the Levine stuff. I want to talk about the future of this team, okay? You guys have been well known in this channel, like, I am very much not really for a rebuild, okay? I think even tonight was a prime example, right, of what we could see in a rebuild when we saw that 5-man bench lineup that included Julian Phillips out there, okay? The Bulls didn't score for basically 5 minutes straight, okay? This was something that I was just like, holy hell, we are back in hell. It's 2017, guys, or sorry, it's 2018, guys. We're back to 2018 where this Bulls team can't score a damn bucket. It's almost like we're basically in the rebuild already, okay? But here's what I'm going to talk about, okay? Because there's a lot that I think that we need to get through that does not relate to this game. I'll talk about this game very briefly, but I want to get to the Levine stuff immediately, and I'm just going to tell you this just to kind of start off. Look, I've been very much against the rebuild, okay? I think that the retool, it was probably the better route overall, but with this new Levine stuff coming out, I've always talked about it, that if Zach is gone, then you just full out rebuild, right? You full out rebuild, okay? So if it truly seems like that Levine is on his way out the door, right, and it's not just him trying to get out of here, it's also the front office is trying to get him out, right? Then if that's the case, then I'm for the rebuild, okay? Then you have to rebuild. I am just very concerned right now from what I'm seeing is the front office is like, no, we're not going to rebuild. We're going to trade Zach. We're going to try to find some pieces in the trade for Zach. And then hopefully we can use DeRozan and Vucevic to get ourselves to the playoffs and hopefully get the 6th seed. Probably not get the 6th seed to win the play-in game or whatever, and then lose in the first round of the playoffs so that we made extra money. Congratulations, Jerry Reinsdorf. You just got you got lots of money again. So that, to me, if the Bulls do that, that is the worst case scenario, okay? And I am going to be livid as a fan if they trade Zach and then they don't trade DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, and then try to push for the playoffs this season, okay? The thing is that if I had to make a bet right now of what the Bulls were actually going to do with this Levine trade, I think they're going to trade Zach for someone like Tyler Hero, Austin Reeves, etc., okay? Not get back much in terms of future, like not get back a future first-round pick. They're just going to get back a bunch of role players that they're just going to plug into this lineup, okay? And then they're going to push for the playoffs, and I'm going to say that the Bulls don't make the playoffs then, okay? Like, this, if that happens, I am going to be extremely pissed if that actually happens, okay? If you trade Zach, and you don't trade DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic, then Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley, they need to be fired on the spot for managerial malpractice. But we know that they won't because Jerry Reinsdorf is a piece of garbage, okay? This is something that I am very scared for this future of this team right now. So I'll talk about a few things because I just see Patrick just mentioned something that I'm also pretty heated at right now. Okay, look, I think that this team is definitely checked out. Sure, if you want to talk about Zach being checked out, I'm not going to disagree with you. I do think that Zach is pretty much like he's done. Okay, but you want to talk about Zach LaVine being checked out? How about the fact that someone tried to call a timeout after Banchero made that bucket? His name was not Zach LaVine. His name is Nikola Vucevic. He thought that the Bulls had another timeout after Banchero made that bucket. Like, that to me is the biggest showing of, oh, you're checked out. Okay, and then add on top of that, Patrick Williams decided to take 2 dribbles with 1.5 seconds left remaining and chucked up a shot that was like 2 seconds after the buzzer went off. Like, please, like, if we're gonna be talking about a player being checked out, again, I think Zach is probably checked out. If you want to, tell me that's the case, then sure, I'm not gonna be here to disagree with you on that. But all I'm gonna ask you is that you keep that same energy for some players who clearly are not engaged in the game, okay? And that those players are not named LaVine. Why is Nikola Vucevic at the end of a game calling a timeout when the Bulls don't have a timeout? Why is Patrick Williams taking 2 dribbles before and 1.5 seconds left remaining to get up a half-court shot? That makes no sense. Like, please tell me why it's only that, oh, LaVine's the only one checked out, okay? And now we're really getting to the point now where Billy Donovan really needs to be discussed. Like, I see the Billy Donovan defenders on Twitter constantly. Look, y'all, the players didn't know how many timeouts we had left, so that's on Billy Donovan as well. Also, what in the F do they work on in practice? Like, that sort of shot by Patrick Williams, okay, in that sort of scenario, that's the thing that they should be practicing, okay? There should be 100% like a plan when it comes to this sort of stuff, right? It makes no sense that was the plan of like, okay, we give it to Patrick Williams, he takes 2 dribbles, he dribbles off the clock, we don't get a shot up, okay? That just shows you just lack of preparation, in my opinion, and I'm pretty pissed at it overall, seeing that, oh, look what happened. Like, that needs to be something that Billy Donovan needs to get heat for. And I'm not really a person that has been like, I don't support Donovan fully. Like, I say that his defense is actually pretty solid as a coach. Like, I still think that's true today. But what we saw today at the very end of the game, like, that's also 100% on the coach. And I don't want to even hear about like, oh, but the players and everything into the front. Like, look, there are things that it's all on the coach too, and this was just straight up disgusting to see from this Bull squad. Okay, look, we can talk about Zach. Zach had another terrible performance. He hit those 2 big threes at the end. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't even know what Orlando was doing, and credit to Zach for knocking it down. Okay, but yeah, I think Zach is probably checked out. But at the same time, if we're going to be talking about this dude being checked out and his, terrible performance in terms of his offensive and defensive performances, okay, what's going on with this dude? Okay, Javon Carter, what happened here? Okay, Patrick Williams, 2 for 7. Like, this doesn't even come up with this doesn't even count the last shot that he didn't even take with enough time left. Okay, like, yeah, sure, maybe this dude's checked out and he doesn't want to be here right now, and I don't blame him, honestly. But what's happening here? Okay, like, this is the part that, like, it really makes me, like, grind my gears of, like, well, look, Zach sucks, Zach had a terrible shooting night. Okay, fine. Then what the hell is happening with some of these other players right now? Okay, sure, there's probably stuff in the locker room, and I get it. But there are players right now that are not named Zach LaVine that I do not think are meeting expectations whatsoever, and I think that they're failing pretty much to an extent, and we just don't really say much of anything. I'm going to make the argument that I think this entire team is checked out. Like, I honestly think that literally everybody on this team does not want to be here right now, okay? Except for Ayo Dosunmu, probably because, he does a lot of stuff with Chicago, maybe Javon Carter in a sense, but it literally seems like no one wants to be here. Like, straight up, no one wants to be here, okay? DeMar DeRozan obviously has a personal issue going on. I hope that everything's all right with him. But I'm also just going to say this. I won't be shocked if we don't see DeMar DeRozan again. I think that he is probably coming back on Friday to play against the Magic. But if he just never comes back to this Bulls squad, I won't be shocked, honestly. I really won't be. And I'll even make the argument that with DeRozan's play so far this season, he's been probably checked out since the start of the year because he has not played well either. But look, couple of things, because we need to look into this as just a whole group, okay? Because I'm not happy with how things are being just coached in terms of what's happening at the end of a game, okay? In terms of the defense, yet again, I don't think the defense did anything bad. I mean, look at these two guys. They shot 4 for 12 and 5 for 16. That's basically all you could ask for, okay? And yeah, some other guys went off. I mean, I think Cole Anthony had a pretty solid game, but this was not a good performance by the Orlando Magic. They shot 39% from the field. They shot 26% or 28% from 3. This is bad, okay? Unfortunately, the Bulls are just worse. I mean, they shot 39% from the field, 27% from 3, and clearly the free throws came into factor here, as you can see. Both teams sucked tonight. They straight up just sucked on the offensive end, okay? And it was very, 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 very terrible to listen or watch as we just watched brick after brick after brick. 33 points at halftime, as you said, I think MC season. Yeah, it's awful. It's straight up awful just to watch this Bull squad. And yeah, sure, maybe the dude that everyone's talking about in Levine is checked out. But I mean, 33 points in one half, I'm going to argue that literally everybody doesn't want to be here right now. And that's the part that's really, really frustrating. Let's see. I don't think Academy is rebuilding it at all. Continuously hearing them say they want to compete. Oh yeah, I agree with you, MC Season. And that's the reason why I think that once Levine is traded, right, which I think is going to happen, we're going to be stuck in mediocrity for literally the next 5 to 10 years. Okay, like people have argued with me about like they think that my plan of keeping Zach around and trading DeRozan and Vooch away is like terrible, and that's going to lead to mediocrity. What I think is about to happen with this Bull squad, I honestly think is the worst case scenario. Okay, like I think that is gonna be even more mediocrity than my idea that people think is mediocrity. Okay, if you keep DeRozan and Vooch around for the next 3 years or whatever, this team's going nowhere. This team is straight up gonna be hell. Okay, we're not gonna win anything. We'll win maybe 37 games, and the front office is gonna be like, well, we're still trying to compete. We still like continuity, etc., etc. And you're going to be playing 90s basketball. We're going to be watching 90s basketball in 2025, for God's sake, if that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to be literally just gouging my eyes out with how terrible that's going to be to experience. Yeah, watching people dribble out the clock and not get that shot up. Oh, yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Like, I straight up don't know what he's doing. It doesn't make any sense. Should that have been a tech on Vooch? Yeah, it should have. So if you're questioning my whole thing of like, well, did Vooch actually get did Vooch actually try to call timeout here at the very end? Like, yeah, like it genuinely happened. Okay, look, Steph No tweeted this out. Okay, and I saw this immediately after Banchero hit that shot. Watch Vooch. Look, he's calling timeout. That should have been 100% attack on the Bulls. Okay, and then it's also a turnover in possession. Like, that right there, you want to tell me that Nikola Vucevic is playing hard, he's the only one that actually cares about this team? I'm sorry, he doesn't know how many timeouts are left. Like, he doesn't know what's the game situation, right? Like, tell me that dude is not checked out. That, to me, Nikola Vucevic is strapped. He's done. Like, he doesn't know what's happening, okay? After that, Patrick Williams with his whatever, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the hell he thought at the end. But even still, this is where I blame Donovan. Like, why don't the players know that they have no timeouts remaining? Like, that's on Vooch, but then it's also just on Billy. Like, there should have been, because the Magic called a timeout before Banchero made that shot. They should have been repeating to the players, hey, listen, we don't have any timeouts left remaining. If they make a shot, here's the play. And they weren't prepared. They didn't know what was happening. Like, that straight up is just, that's on Billy. That's just straight up on Billy. Terrible game, really? Oh, it was absolutely awful. We watched 90s basketball tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it. Honestly, we're going to get blown out by the Magic. Number one pick, here we come. So, I did not think we were going to get blown out by the Magic, because if we were going to get blown out by the Magic, it would have happened in the first half. The Magic are not a good three-point shooting team. They also struggle like the Bulls do, okay? So I don't know what it is with the Magic, but they also have some shooting woes, okay? But that's the only reason why the Bulls were able to stay in this one, because the Magic also just suck from three-point range, okay? And obviously Banchero and Wagner, like those two guys, they were struggling. So it kind of made sense that the Bulls didn't get blown out in this one. But yeah, I think it could have gotten to that point, but because the Magic don't shoot threes well enough, it was a little bit harder. At least Pat's got more three rebounds, something, I guess, right? I mean, look, bro, I've been telling people how much that I think Patrick Williams has really failed to meet expectations this season, okay? And his expectations were low, all right? And it's really frustrating to be listening to how much, like, oh, but this player is doing everything right, and this player's doing everything right, and then this player's checked out, and then this certain player's checked out. Look, bro, like, Patrick Williams, let's just be real, like, there are people tweeting, like, there are Patrick Williams supporters, right, that were on Twitter after Pat's first quarter say, like, this is Patrick Williams' team. See what happens when you start him at small forward. You see what happens. And I'm like, guys, that was nothing. The first quarter, he had 4 points and 3 rebounds. Okay, nice. Okay, this, like, nice 9 rebounds. I appreciate the 9 rebounds tonight. And he had some nice defensive moments, sure. But after that, like, I don't know what we really want to talk about. Honestly, I'd rather focus on long-term goal of this team. So yeah, here's the reason why I kind of started the stream saying that this might have actually been the best case scenario for this Bulls team, okay? Because yeah, maybe Zach probably wanted the win tonight. I don't know, honestly, but I mean, he gave the Bulls a chance, you know, props to him. But if this Bulls team is actually gonna trade Zach, then I want this team to legit be just garbage, because then maybe then the front office thinks, okay, yeah, we have to get rid of Vooch and we have to get rid of DeRozan, because I truly do not even think right now that if they trade Zach, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna hit the rebuild button. Okay, now hopefully, I am praying that when they trade Zach, they're trading DeRozan and Vooch as soon as possible, and they're thinking, okay, we're gonna suck the rest of the season, we're gonna hopefully get a top pick, we're gonna pray to the gods it's gonna work, okay? But who knows, right? But at least with this loss tonight, it's gonna help us, right? So that's kind of like, maybe this was the best thing for us in the future, is that we lost this game tonight. This is closer for us to get to being just get the first overall pick for this the next season, right? Which I don't think is gonna happen, right? But at least we'll guarantee ourselves to be a top 7. That's, you know, and we'll get the 7th overall pick yet again. But yeah, maybe this was best case scenario tonight, but I don't know, bro. Like, I have no faith right now in this front office to be making the right decision once they trade Zach, and I'm very much concerned moving forward with this team. Last bit of Pat where he was dribbling out the clock like we had the lead equals J.R. Smith without the motor moment. Pat dribbling through the last shot, Vooch calling for a nonsense timeout when Banchero scored. The whole team seems like they checked out. To be honest, yeah, I agree with Box. I 100% agree. I think no one wants to be here right now. Like, genuinely, no one wants to be here. Like, they're sick and tired of everything. I mean, Kobe had his first game where he played terrible at home, right? But even Kobe, I'm questioning some things with Kobe right now. Like, it genuinely feels like no one wants to be here, right? Like, am I wrong to say that? Like, I don't think anyone wants to be here. So, look, I'll get to my part about Zach in a little bit here, but like, I'm just gonna say I don't blame him if he truly wants out, because it seems like no one wants to be here right now, and no one cares about what's actually happening. What I don't get is how the coach doesn't sit down with players for a single-digit deficit becomes double digits in less than a minute, it seems. Okay, so I'm guessing you're talking about the first substitutions where that 5-man bench unit came in, right? It was DeSumo, Carter, Caruso, Drummond, and Julian Phillips. Julian Phillips played tonight, okay? That's how bad things are, all right? Julian Phillips played tonight. That wasn't in garbage minutes, by the way. That lineup did not score, okay? That lineup, that 5-man lineup, when they were all on the floor together, they did not score a point. And like you said, kick me down, the lead blossomed from, like, you know, 4 or whatever it was to then it was 11, right? That lineup did not score. They came in with basically like 2 minutes left remaining in the first quarter, and then they were subbed out after 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the second quarter. They didn't score, okay? They didn't score for basically 5+ minutes. They did not even get a free throw. They didn't do anything, and that lineup specifically did not do a thing And I agree with you. Like, I don't know what Donovan's looking at. Like, I even said it when that lineup came in, when Julian Phillips came in, right? And he was like the last substitution. I was like, how the hell is this lineup going to score? Like, I don't know how this lineup's going to actually do anything. And they didn't score. They straight up did not score a bucket. I can't believe how terrible that lineup was. And then on top of that, what the hell is Donovan looking at? Like, he's just like, yeah, we'll just let this be. Like, is Donovan actually trying to tank? Like, that's what it kind of seems like right now, is that he's actually like trying to tank right now. And the front office is going to be telling the fan base, no, we're not going to hit the rebuild button or whatever. We're going to actually have like competitive team, etc., etc., etc. And maybe they're actually just trying to tank. Like, it seems so stupid. At least Rangers are going to lose money. Hope they sell this team. I'm hoping too. We'll see what they do. Right now, the Bulls are 23rd in attendance, which is fantastic. And I want that number to continue to go down. 19,000 went to the game tonight. That's a little bit more than usual. It's been around 18,000 for the team. So I don't know why people went to this game tonight. It makes no sense. But please do not go to the games. I want Jerry Reinsdorf and the Reinsdorfs to start scrambling and in fear of like, oh my god, we're not selling tickets. Like, what's happening? Like, I want them to just be like, what the hell is happening? And legit feel like, oh, we gotta do something. We have to do something as ownership, and hopefully they just sell, but they won't. We know they won't. Look at P. Will where you paused. Here? I mean, look, this wasn't the whole play though. So like, here, we'll pull up the last play here, because I do want to talk about this. Like, there's the, and look, just to talk about the last play, just another second here before I pull it up. I don't know what the defensive assignments were. Like, that, it made no sense. Like, it genuinely made no sense. I don't know what Donovan's thinking in the defensive assignments, which is like, I'm just saying, like, is Donovan actually trying to tank? Like, I don't know. The 3-guard lineup was fun though. Which one? Even thinking basketball wouldn't be able to explain what kind of basketball the Bulls are playing right now. No, absolutely not. See, aka I mean, I've been operating trash trades, mostly trash signings. I expected to trade Zach to the Lakers with Sally for plus 20, 29, 20, 30 picks and an extender DeRozan. No, I agree. And I 100% agree that I think that's a likely move. I'll also give you guys another likely trade for Zach that doesn't do anything for the Bulls in the future. Like, it straight up just doesn't, right? Forgot the Billy extension. This one probably takes the cake. Yeah. I don't think the signings are bad. The thing that frustrates me is they are stubborn. So let's go through a couple of the signings that I'm a little just like, I don't really get it. Okay. In terms of Lonzo, Caruso, and DeRozan, okay, those three mostly good. I'm gonna throw Caruso and Lonzo and Caruso into a separate category because those were like the top tier. DeRozan is after that, okay? But they traded for Nikola Vucevic, which I even said was a good thing at the time. So I was clearly wrong, right? Remember that? Like me, that guy? Yeah, I was wrong about that. They traded for Troy Brown Jr., right? That was terrible, okay? We still don't understand that. They traded for Daniel Tice and just let him walk, right? I think we kind of forget about that whole thing, and that was just stupid. Like, we still don't understand that whole thing, okay? So, just through that, you're just like, what is happening, right? It doesn't make any sense for just a couple of trades that I've just mentioned of like, wow, these things just did not turn out to be anything good, right? The Dragic deal, I don't know what was happening with that, okay? It seemed like with Dragic that he was supposed to come in and like actually start, but then they decided not to start him. Not sure what was happening there, okay? And I think that was mainly it. Except unless we're gonna talk about Matt Thomas, which we won't, okay? Obviously, then the bigger issues is that their lack of willingness to spend money, okay? The year we got Andre Drummond, we were supposed to try. Oh, we were also in for Danilo Gallinari, right? But they didn't do that, right? Tristan Thompson was a big reason why. But that whole signing where Tristan Thompson was signed using the biannual exception, remember that? That's also a terrible signing. That made no sense. Why would you use your biannual in the middle of the season, okay, when you could have used it to sign Drummond in the next season and then have a full mid-level exception to use, right? The front office has decided that they're going to put Lonzo on the disabled player exception thing, right? And they haven't used that money still. We're still waiting on that money. Torrey Craig and Javon Carter, those are nice signings, but they didn't like they got the minimum for Torrey Craig, and Javon Carter signed for less than less than half the mid-level exception. Okay, so we're looking at just little tiny things that just they're like tiny little incremental help, and then things that don't make sense, and also just terrible overall decisions of not taking advantage of some trades when they were available, right? And potentially, who knows, tanking all the value with all your assets, right? And this just truly shows you just how terrible the front office has been. Just straight up awful, okay? Now, they're going to get another chance here, okay? They're going to get another chance. We know that they're going to get another chance because this is how the front offices in Chicago work, okay? You have many, many years to kind of right the ship, right? So, AKME, if they decided to rebuild button or whatever they decide to do after trading Zach, they're going to get another shot. So, we're going to see what they do. But in the end, it's been pretty awful, just straight up. The only signings that really made sense next to Zach Racey and Lonzo. Most of the other pickups, they felt like they were made a mistake being made. Vooch didn't make sense. DeMar didn't make sense. So I'm not going to criticize the DeMar DeRozan one too hard because I do think that the Bulls got more value than what they were expecting in that one. Okay. I will say though that initially I had some concerns, but I kind of was just like, it is what it is. But they went out and got a guy that was one of the top-ish free agents, right? And they didn't sign him to like a max deal or anything. They got more value out of what they actually spent than they were probably expecting. So I'll give them that. I'm just gonna give them that. But even though I give them the DeMar DeRozan deal, I still don't think they've done a good job, right? Vooch's style player was the trade worth it for the Bulls? Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. It was not worth it for the Bulls. And I thought when they traded for Vooch, like I thought Vooch was a better player than he actually really is, okay? And it's not just like, him having some all-star performances. It's just that I thought that he was overall a better player, and he clearly wasn't. And that's a bad job on my end, of course, but I mean, I'm not the one getting paid to make the deals, okay? So, funny thing with the 2029 30 Lakers pick is that them being constantly buyers, they won't be bad enough to make the picks even worse 6 to 7 years down the line. Hilarious. Oh, and then even think about it, Box, right? If the Bulls actually decide to rebuild, that pick in 6 to 7 years doesn't even help them rebuild, right? There's like no reason to go and get that pick because it doesn't help them in the rebuild, right? Like that pick is basically useless in a rebuild. It does not do anything whatsoever for the Bulls in a rebuilding situation. Also, zero backup plan after signing Lonzo, who's already injury prone. He usually missed 30 to 35 games every season. They expected a second round IO to pick up the slack. It's madness. Yeah. They didn't want Kobe to pick it up. I also think it was Dragic that they were expecting to pick it up, right? I think that was like their emergency plan, and that clearly didn't work out, right? Kobe will never be a PG, let's be honest. I agree. Kobe's also just occasional flashing of talent. I mean, I think this is just a big indicator of what Kobe White is, which is that he is a sixth man. Like this season so far, for what we're seeing from Kobe, right? I mean, this is what I talked about. Like, yes, does Kobe have the skills to be in the starting lineup? Yes, he very clearly has the skills to be in the starting lineup. But does he have the consistency? And yet, when you look at these games from Kobe, like in just the last 5 games, okay? I mean, these games here are like they're pretty all right. I don't have much to talk about with these, right? But then and we go through like every single game, it's like we don't know which Kobe you're gonna get. You're gonna get like an okay Kobe, or sorry, here let's look at each. Sorry, hold on. Profile. No. How do I do this? I'm actually really annoyed right with this. Is it advanced box score? Okay, here we go. So, I mean, we don't know what you're going to get. Like, this was bad, right? This is not good either, really. And then this was dreadful, okay? Not contributing much. This was bad. This was pretty good, right? This was not good, okay? This was really good, right? Then this is not really that good. And then this was pretty good. And then this was pretty good, right? It's this inconsistency with Kobe that I was saying, like, okay, if he's actually going to be a starter, then he has to bring the consistency. But we only see it during moments, like you said, Noel. It's like these little flashes of like, okay, like that's really good play by Kobe. The next possession, I don't know what he's really doing. He's like falling away from the basket, trying to draw a foul. Like everything with Kobe, right? It just shows to me he's probably not a starter in this league, and yet we're asking him to be a starting point guard out of all things. He just should probably be coming off the bench in general, but because of the roster construction, with how terrible this roster has been constructed, it's our best option, right? There's not really a better option. I still think Javon Carter should start, but that doesn't matter anymore, right? My projection of Kobe in a tremendously best case scenario would be Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, 6-man instant scorer by making him the starting point guard. You're giving him more than he can chew. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good overall way to look at it. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say Jamal Crawford, because I think I think Lou Williams is probably the best like overall like comparison, because we saw Lou Williams have like those moments where he can really he can genuinely like run an offense for like a couple of possessions and be the focal point, right? And you'd have games where Lou Williams is like scoring 31 off the bench, right? And I think Kobe can do that, okay? With Jamal, I think Jamal is just like a pure scorer. Like he is just like only scoring, right? I do think Kobe does have the overall skill to be like a pretty decent overall passer and kind of maybe able to actually initiate some of the offense, but I don't see that in the starting lineup, as you said, Box. Yeah. Hopefully we get value for our core. I'm telling you right now, Nikola Vucevic's value is a salary filler in 2 seconds. Okay, that's what I think Nikola Vucevic is worth. Like, I think he's worth nothing right now. Okay, with DeRozan, we're gonna see what he's worth. He's on the last year of his contract, which makes him less valuable. I'm honestly thinking it's very similar to Vuce. It's like, okay, 2 salary fillers, and maybe you get a protected first-round pick, but I don't really see it. I think you're just gonna get 2 seconds. Okay. Zach is obviously the one that you want to get the most value back for, but I don't trust this front office to do that. Right? The man you need to trade to actually do like a full-out reset is Caruso, and I don't know if the Bulls are going to trade him. So we'll talk about that too. But before we get into that, let's talk about this last play here. Oh, hold on, not yet. Sorry, I thought I clicked on the I clicked on my recording, but I did not. Give me 1 second. So that's the end of the game. Sorry, hold on. Alright, so let's just watch this first, because I'll say this before I go and criticize the absolute living hell out of Donovan, okay? I think this is a pretty solid play. I mean, we've seen this play before by the Bulls, okay? You had someone start all the way in the backcourt, right? They run up here. That takes this man out of the play, okay? We see that Caruso inbounded it to Vooch, right? And then he runs this way, so that takes this man out of the play. So this basically allows Levine as much room as possible, okay, to get off a shot. So it's just going to be these 2 guys. If both of them go towards Zach, then Vooch is wide open here for a 3-point shot, right? But if Zach is just able to get the one-on-one, he's able to take the shot, okay? So you see here, for some reason, this was a bad switch by Orlando. It seemed like this wasn't communicated well enough, but I don't know really what they're doing. I think they should have doubled this, okay? You double team Zach in this scenario. They didn't. And they let Zach get a pretty open look out of this, and then he made it, right? So, you know, props to Donovan. I'll give him props for this, because I think that was a pretty solid play overall. And I don't have many complaints about it, okay? Now, let's look at this, okay? Because this next part is the part that is really frustrating to me, because I don't know what the hell is happening, okay? So, you saw in this whole thing that the Magic took a timeout, okay? So, while they're in the huddle over here, there are many things that Donovan should be repeating to the players, or at least the coaching staff should be repeating to the players, okay? 1, we do not have any timeouts remaining. So if you get the rebound or they make the shot, do not call a timeout, okay? You should not call a timeout. Do not call a timeout. No timeouts remaining. None, okay? So there's that, right? Number 2, okay? if, let's say, they score a bucket, what's the play? Okay, there should be a play drawn up in everyone's minds that if for some reason the Orlando Magic, they score the bucket, right, we need to have a play in mind and ready to go. Okay, it's not going to be amazing, okay, but this clearly showed to me that there was no idea what they were doing. Okay, not like there was no recollection or there's no preparation whatsoever of what the Bulls were going to do if the Magic made the shot. Okay, number 3 of the part that I do not understand and what the absolute hell Donovan was thinking in this sort of scenario. Okay, but he decided to put Alex Caruso on Paolo Banchero. Okay, that makes no sense to me because we saw Caruso a lot of the time in the fourth quarter. He was guarding this man. He was guarding Franz Wagner, and I think that was working a lot better. Okay, because I don't want Caruso having to worry about the size and this sort of thing. Yes, Franz Wagner is big, right? But he's mostly on the perimeter, and Banchero is a dude that is also on the perimeter, but he also plays more inside. Okay, so I don't know what the hell Donovan was thinking with this thing right here. Okay, now if I understand that there's probably some argument about, okay, put Patrick Williams on Banchero, okay, which he's had some nice moments in this game, sure, but the other person that was on the floor was Torrey Craig. I think that this Torrey Craig should have been on Banchero. Okay, I think Patrick Williams guarding Jalen Suggs is fine. I think that Caruso should have been on Wagner, Craig should have been on Banchero. But that's just my 2 cents as a person that is not a coach. Okay, so the play happens. All right, let's watch this go ahead. And right here is where I don't understand what the Bulls were thinking, because there are 2 people that you don't want taking the shot, right? One is this dude, okay? The other is this dude. If I lose because Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, and Joe Ingles make a shot, I am all right. I'm like, okay, you know what? We did our best. We made sure that the best players did not make a shot. Like, as I said about the Levine 3 in the previous play, like, I don't know why Orlando's letting Zach take that shot. Like, there is one person that you should not let take the shot in this situation. That was Zach, right? And they let him take the shot. Okay, there are 2 people on the floor right now that shouldn't be taking a shot, and that's these 2 people. Okay, so they let it go 1-on-1, right? Now, if you're wondering if Zach should be coming down here, no, he can't. This is Joe Ingles, right? And this is too short of a pass, in my opinion, that this could easily be like an easy wide open 3 for Joe Ingles. So Zach can't come over, right? There's nothing that Zach can do to come on over, right? And so this is the reason why they have Wagner all the way back here, because this takes Torrey Craig out of the play completely. So this is smart by Jamal Mosley. Okay. One time I will agree with Stacey King on this. I think that Patrick Williams needed to go, because when you see the shot clock, or when you see the clock get down to 4 seconds, right? He needs to go, or even 5 seconds. He needs to go, because at this point right here, even now, it's 4.3 seconds remaining. So Patrick had to go earlier. It's too late. Like it's too late at this point. And of course, then he gets the roll, and now the Bulls have 1.4 seconds remaining. So I'm like, look, okay, let's see what the Bulls can draw up here, because there are things that they should have in mind. Okay, it's not going to be a great shot, but at least there should be some sort of plan, and you need to get the shot off at the very least. Okay, I see Torrey Craig is nowhere near engaged in this play. Okay, Nikola Vucevic is calling a timeout. What the hell is he doing? Okay, and no one's inbounding the ball, right? So someone has to inbound it. And maybe this was the plan. Like, maybe this was actually the plan here, and Caruso just decided not to throw it to him, and obviously Suggs is here. But then at the very least, okay, if you're Patrick Williams, you just gotta launch this. Like, you're lucky that the pass even got in, right? That's like a 40+ foot pass that was actually inbounded, right? You're lucky you caught the pass. You gotta get the shot up. Like, straight up, you just gotta get the shot up. And he didn't. I don't know what is happening. Okay, Torrey Craig is like not even doing anything. No one inbounded the ball. Okay, Vooch is trying to call a timeout, and Patrick Williams doesn't know how much time is left in the clock. Like, yeah, maybe Zach LaVine is not here. He's checked out. Sure. What the hell is this? None of the last play here was on Zach. That's not on him. This was just straight up that no one knew what the hell to do at the end. And it's very frustrating to see that. So, if that's the case, that everyone is basically checked out of this team, which I don't blame them, because this team is absolutely dreadful, and I don't know what the hell our Charles Carmen Show and Mark Eversley are thinking right now. We go to this, and let's talk. So, all in all, continuity worked pretty well. Thumbs up, AKM. Oh yeah, it worked amazing. It worked fantastically, because the definition of continuity for AKMME is very different from the definition of continuity for the rest of the league. So, I feel like LA might trade for Vooch. Which team? Clippers, Lakers, which one? Also for Bulls, what is the point of salvage? We suck, period. Oh yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. The good news for you, at least for people like you, Palupa, is that the Bulls are 4-8, right? So they're on their way to being one of the worst teams in the league. So hopefully you get the first overall pick this season when there's no Victor Wembanyama. But yeah, I don't have any faith in this front office of deciding to actually tank, though. Like I don't have any faith in it. So Lakers, gotcha. Zach deserves better. I think Zach deserved better in his time here, for sure. But I'm aware of his flaws. But I also tweeted out this tweet, okay? I'm aware that Zach LaVine has flaws, okay? I'm aware he's not a perfect player, okay? But what I am aware of is that this dude was not looked at as the guy here when he got traded in the Jimmy Butler trade, which was a terrible trade, right? That's not his fault, right? That the front office Garpax, they traded Jimmy Butler and didn't get a first-round pick in return. They got Markkanen, but they didn't get any future first-round picks, okay? Zach was not looked at as the guy here, right? And he turned himself into a two-time All-Star. Is a overall sorry, Jesus Christ. He is a modern-day NBA player, okay? And yes, he has flaws, but what people are not gonna ever look at is that Zach LaVine's teams have more flaws than he does, okay? It's always about what the hell is Zach not. But how about the damn team he's on and what they aren't, okay? The damn team that he is on, every single team. We're talking about his time in Minnesota when he wasn't the guy, right? And he comes here and he's also not the guy here, right? When he first got here, ACL injury, comes back, okay? And was honestly like the one little hope that the Bulls had, okay? But can you imagine if Zach LaVine did not turn into anything from the Jimmy Butler deal? Chris Dunn's gone. Larry Markkanen was traded for a pick we're never ever going to see ever again. And we got Derrick Jones Jr. who was gone, right? Can you imagine Zach LaVine didn't turn into anything? What if LaVine just turned into Gerald Green 2.0? Because that could have 1000% happened, that Zach LaVine is Gerald Green 2.0, right? And the Bulls had nothing to work off of. Nothing to do. Okay? I digress. I don't want Zach to get to the Lakers, actually, because I actually like the guy. If he ends up there, he will end up being the next scapegoat for LeBron. He makes sense both in assets and the feat for him. I 100% agree with you, Box. 100% agree with you. Now, for the Bulls, in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why the Bulls would trade with the Heat right now. But if they're gonna be all about, we're gonna still try to contend with DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic at the helm. Sure. I mean, I guess that's what's probably gonna happen. I think Pacers are the best suited for Zach. Both teams can win if it happens. I do think the Pacers are a good team for Zach as well, but I don't think that's going to happen because that's an inter-division rival. So, let's do this, because there's a lot that we're already kind of looking through in terms of what what Zach could be traded for, okay? There's a lot of talk already about Zach's value, okay? I'm aware already of how Zach is probably not looking too amazing on the trade market. He also is a 15% trade kicker that the Bulls are gonna have to pay, but it doesn't count towards the Bulls whole thing, okay? It would count against the other team's cap, which I think honestly that's gonna help the Bulls in the end, but we'll see. what does actually happen. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you right now what I think is going to happen. Okay, this is a trade that I legitimately think that this is going to be a real possibility that the Bulls do, and it's their excuse to be like, okay, we traded Zach, we got him off the team, we didn't want him anymore, and we're going to try to win with DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic, and here's how. Okay, so what I think is a legitimate possibility, okay, is Zach LaVine is traded for Tyler Hero. Now, to make sure that the rest of this, trade works out, I think we've kind of talked about this already. The Bulls get Nikola Jovic, who I'm not that high on. Okay, I really don't understand any sort of reason why anyone is that high on Jovic, but it's a young player. Okay, he's 20 years old. Maybe you can make something out of him, right? And we'll see how much the Heat are like kind of willing to give up here, but I think that the idea would be, you don't want to give. They're not gonna give a Jaime Jaquez, so they're gonna be like, okay, we'll give you like Josh Richardson and then maybe Caleb Martin, right? We'll see about Caleb Martin. I have my doubts about Caleb Martin, unfortunately. So this is kind of like the idea, but I'll take out Caleb Martin in a sense, and I'll just throw in like Thomas Bryant, okay, for whatever. Actually, I don't know if I can do that because that's your backup center. How much has Thomas Bryant actually played this season? I'm actually hella interested in this. Of course, the Heat don't play today. Sorry, give me 1 second. I just want to look at this. So Thomas Bryant. Okay, yeah. So the Heat are not gonna. They're not gonna trade Thomas Bryant, I don't think, because that's their backup center, and they're gonna need him. So. Okay, no, they trade Caleb Martin. They'd 100% trade Caleb Martin. So yeah, they trade him. Where'd he go? Oh, here he is. Okay, so this is the idea. Okay, now in terms of picks, the Heat don't really have much of anything that is like current, like in the near future. Okay, so this is again yet another reason that the Bulls front office could be like, yeah, see, we're not gonna try to rebuild because we don't have a pick until 2027, right? And so here's the deal, okay? I'm aware Josh Richardson can't be traded, okay? So just so you guys know, I think Zach is not gonna get traded until at the very minimum December 15th, right? That's like the earliest he'll get traded. I don't think Zach's gonna get traded anytime before that because a lot of the players become available for trade on December 15th, and the Bulls might even wait until January 15th, honestly, because that's when even more players become available. But I think December 15th is probably when Zach's gonna go out the door. So this is probably what you're gonna be getting back if you're the Chicago Bulls. This is probably the deal, okay? I'm here to tell you, I'm not thrilled at this. Like, I'm not a big Tyler Hero fan. This trade does not help this team rebuild whatsoever. Okay, this trade straight up is them trying to like patch up holes in the roster with trading Zach, and then you're trying to replace a 24 point per game scorer, and they're trying to add extra, which I just don't see how this does anything to that. So. To me, this makes no sense. I straight up don't understand this trade whatsoever. But I think this is a legit possibility. I truly do. Oh, I'm dropping frames. Crap. I don't remember which one reported it, but but he said something along the lines that AK and me are in great terms with Rich Paul. Maybe. It sounds like the Bulls are in good terms with Rich Paul. I'm sorry about the drop frames, by the way. I should have stabilized right now. Sorry about the drop frames. You guys should hear me now. Good, well and clear. If you don't, refresh the stream. Hey, all the YouTubers are saying Zach's contract is a negative. Every video I watch, they keep saying 40 mil is too much. I don't know why they're saying that. Like, I truly don't understand why people keep thinking that when it comes to Zach's contract. Zach's contract, okay? I mean, I'm trying to explain to people, okay? So 29.5 is, so his contract this season is 29.5 of the salary cap. Okay, next season it's 30.3. After that it's 29.4. Okay, now this is off projections of the salary cap moving forward. Okay, this is off the projection that next year's salary cap is not going to go up by $10 million. Okay, so the salary cap for this season is $136 million. Okay, as you can see right here, my projection is that the salary cap next season is going to be $146 million, or somewhere around there. And right now, Spot Track projects it at 142. So if the salary cap goes up at all of the just even a little bit off to the $142 million projection, Zach's contract is basically less of the salary cap next season than it is of this season. Okay, which I don't think people understand that part. So Zach's contract is not an issue. Okay. The most the most of his salary is gonna ever tick up the cap is probably gonna be this season. Okay, in the future it truly does not matter. And I truly don't know why people are arguing about that. I find that very, very odd. Noel, they're stuck in the past. They think only 10 players in the league deserve the max. They probably missed that the max players got replaced with super max players, and now second and third options get max contracts. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's kind of what a lot of people are stuck with still, and I don't know why. And it's really frustrating to see it. Sorry, I'm noticing that people aren't fully seeing what's happening on the stream. I'm back. Like, I dropped frames for a good minute, but I should be back now. Tyler traveled at the end. Did he? I mean, yeah, I guess he probably did travel at the end, but as I've always said, officials swallow their whistle at the end of a game, so you can easily get away with a move like that at the end of a game. They're not going to call this. So yes, maybe he did travel, but unfortunately, officials don't call anything at the end of a game, so it is what it is. Okay. Is Hero's 27 million contract the equivalent of the 19 million contract Zach had when we re-signed him back in 2018? I think that's about right. I'm not entirely sure though. We're not going to be able to see it, unfortunately. I need to know the exact salary cap of oh shit, sorry. 101.8869 ish. I mean, okay. Oh, so 19.14. Okay, so we'll just take this number and then times this by 136. Yeah, it's about the same, right? I know this is ridiculously high, but you divide this by 100 and then you get this number. So it's about the same. Yeah, it's generally about the same box. You're right. We'll love to trade with OKC for Giddey. Okay, yeah. So let me just make this clear for everyone that is watching. Okay, so this money works. Okay, so this money would work. I'm not entirely sure about the trade kicker with Zach. I don't know. I don't think this is implemented. So if anything, if this doesn't work for Miami, right? Like you add someone else, like add Orlando Robinson for God's sake. Okay, and it would then probably work at that point. Bulls would obviously have to get rid of some people and have to move some things around. And maybe it has to be like a 3-team deal for whatever. But I think this is honestly what I think at the very least the Bulls are trying to go after. Okay, and this is what I think is going to happen, because it sounds like the front office wants to continue to contend. Excuse me, when I'm not on that boat. If they were keeping Zach and getting rid of DeRozan and Vooch, like, yeah, you know what? I'm all for like trying to like figure things out and not have to full out rebuild. But if you're trading Zach, right, you're trading DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. But it seems like the front office doesn't want to do that, and so therefore this is probably what they're probably going to look for. And I'm not going to be happy with it. I'm going to be pretty pissed at this. So this is what I think is going to happen. Okay, now I'm going to leave that up, and I'm going to go over some stuff that I would like to see the Bulls actually try to go after, and this would be for the rebuild. Okay, so Noel, you mentioned Giddey, right? And I like Josh Giddey as kind of being a little starting point for the rebuild. Okay, now if you're wondering why the hell would Oklahoma City be getting rid of Josh Giddey, like if you're wondering like why would they do that, like what's the whole premise of this whole thing, okay, the reason why is that if you look at the numbers right now for Josh Giddey, okay, his numbers next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander don't look very good. Okay, he's kind of like becoming the odd man out because Jalen Williams has also kind of like turned into something really solid, and because of Giddey's lack of shooting so far, or lack of consistent shooting, they're concerned. Okay, and because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is obviously the franchise, it seems like Giddey is just not really fitting in. So I saved this tweet by someone who follows the Thunder. Okay, and if you just look at this overall stat here, if you see it up on screen. So when you look at Giddey and Shai together, okay, when they share the court, they're minus in net rating. When Shai's on the court and Giddey's off the court, they're very good. When Giddey's on the court but Shai's off, right, it's terrible. And then when they're both off the court, they're somehow plus 0.95, which that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Okay, or sorry, that's for last season. Now for this season though, it's even more astounding, right? When they're both on the court together, they're still negative. When it's just Shai, they're extremely positive, right? When it's just Giddey, they're more negative, and then when they're both off the court, they're terrible, right? Now this was tweeted 2 days ago, so it's not like fully up to date with recent games, but it seems like that's something that the Thunder squad is actually starting to think about. And because the Thunder have a ginormous amount of assets kind of left over, like they're probably a little bit more willing to just go ahead and get rid of Josh Giddey while this is kind of going on. So if this would be the case, obviously then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Zach LaVine would then be kind of like their team moving forward. My only thing is that I don't think the Thunder really need to do this sort of deal. Like I think that they'd be willing to move Josh Giddey for like someone else and just not go after like a bigger name to kind of come in and be like the second star, right? At least that's kind of what I think would happen. But let's just say this does happen. Like let's say for some reason the Bulls convince the Thunder, like let's say that maybe the Thunder start kind of struggle a little bit and they want to push for being better. Okay, so they're looking to go after Zach, like for whatever reason it is. Okay, so here's the idea, at least in my head, of what it would look like. Okay, I think that Davis Bertans has to be in the deal. He's like a salary filler. Obviously Josh Giddey is kind of like one of the main main attractions in this one. Now I think, at least in my head, Micic or Williams has to be in this deal. I'll go ahead and just take Vasilija Micic. I kind of would actually like to see how Micic would just kind of do on this Bulls squad. I'm not entirely sure how much he's played this season, so let me go look at that right now. Because I do think that Micic is also kind of like the odd man out there too. Like it's just kind of like not exactly working out amazing. Yeah, he's not really playing, so I'd take him personally. I understand he's 29, right? But I'd personally take him. Okay, and then throw in Aaron Wiggins. Okay, so right here, I don't think this would work. I'm just gonna look at the money. Okay, the money does work. Now, again, Zach has a trade kicker, so you probably have to add a little bit more. And I don't think they're going to be willing to get rid of Ousmane Dieng or Jalen Williams or Trey Mann, okay, or even the other Jalen Williams who has not really played this season, right? So I'll throw in Pokusevski. I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't like Pokusevski whatsoever. I truly don't. I think Pokusevski is a little but even this right here seems like a lot. Like I don't really know how realistic this is. This seems like a lot. So hold on, I'll do this just because I think this is probably a little bit more realistic. I'll just put it in Kenrich Williams instead. So now this would get you to the where the money would actually work out. And so if I'm the Bulls, right, I am wanting, okay, either I want this Houston pick because I think Houston is actually looking a little bit better this season. So I don't think they're going to fall into the top 4 if they do happen to be in the lottery. Okay, so I'd want either this one, okay, or I want this Clippers pick. Okay, I don't care which one. Okay, and then after that, I don't think I'm going to be able to get something that's like not protected at this point because I'm getting like a pick that's already unprotected in a sense. So I think then the Bulls are going to be like, if I was the Bulls, right, I'd be arguing for the Thunder pick, like let's just say top 10 protected or something, or let's say top 8 protected for the Bulls. Okay, so this would be what I would try to argue for Zach, right? Obviously Bertans, or sorry, let me change this to white. Bertans is just a salary filler. Misic is not really being used, right? Giddey's the odd man out in OKC, and then Kenrich Williams is not much of anything, and then Aaron Wiggins is like a nice young player that is also kind of not he's getting some playing time if I remember correctly in OKC. Let's see, so yeah, he's actually playing, but like as you can see his minutes are pretty low, and you know, maybe instead of Aaron Wiggins is Pokusevski. So you're at least getting someone that's like a young player that doesn't really have that much potential in the end. And you're getting a first round pick that's basically unprotected, and then a first round pick that is probably gonna have protections on it. And honestly, I'll be truthful about this. If the Bulls don't get like the second first round pick that I threw in here, right? So I'll just get rid of this one, right? Then if they just get like a second, like 2 seconds instead, I'd also be okay with this. I am a big fan of Josh Giddey. I am aware of his shooting woes and that he's not really the best shooter right now, but I like his potential. He's only 21 years old. He's done already a lot in his career, and I think that's someone the Bulls could 100% use moving forward, and then I don't feel so terrible about the rebuild, right? Because then I have Josh Giddey, right? So I feel pretty all right about this personally, but I'm also aware that it's Josh Giddey, and I don't think the Thunder is going to give him up very easily. So that's one idea that I would do if I was the Bulls. Okay. Actually getting 4 firsts for Vooch and then DeMar, only getting back 1 first for Zach. Wow, the incompetence, 3 firsts in 2 seconds. Yeah, that's how it goes, unfortunately. Terrible job by the front office. They still have access to get big names. That's crazy. Even after that trade, they do. Now, the thing is that what this does do, I will say this: this trade does ruin like their overall, like they don't then have any sort of money left over to like go out and get another big name, right? Like they don't have like the ability to contract match as well, because I think Davis Bertans is obviously a huge part. And then Lou Dort is also another contract that they could just be looking to offload and like a major, go out and get a big name type deal. Okay. Now the other thing though that they're gonna have to start looking into this soon, because it is what it is for them. But hello, excuse me. So this is what the team is now, but then come in a couple of years, right? So, yeah, obviously, you still have Bertans, you still have Dort, right? Guys like Pokusevski need to get paid this offseason, and Aaron Wiggins after that, Jalen Williams, and the other Jalen Williams in a couple of years, right? Jang, so like they'll have some other guys kind of available to kind of work with, to kind of throw in, right, for bigger contracts once they work with, they get a contract extension for them. But this is kind of ruining their ability to go after like a major big time free agent, or sorry, major big time player in terms of trading, right? What they will have though is potentially money, right? Because if they're just gonna, we'll see what Bertans does. I think they just accept the player option anyway. It's not even fully guaranteed. If they just get rid of Bertans, they don't re-sign a couple of people, and it's just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the roster, like they have money, right? So that would be their other way of getting a start, with only trading some of the younger players, right, and not having to match contracts. So it doesn't seem like that bad of an idea, but it's probably not the best idea for them, so it doesn't really make much sense. Okay, now let's talk about the next one. Okay, this is the next team that I think that this team would actually like really use Zach, like, and they really want Zach to actually be there. Okay, so I think the Sacramento Kings, personally, like they haven't gotten off to the best start, and you're starting to get into the rumblings of like, was last season like a one-hit wonder in a sense. Okay, they're 5-4. They've had some interesting decisions. They've won 3 games in a row though. Okay, but De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, okay, while that is a very good duo, okay, not denying that whatsoever, I think they need a third dude, and I don't think that they have that third dude right now. I'm aware De'Aaron Fox has not played every single game, so there's that going on, so maybe that's part of it. But I like Sabonis. I just think that Sabonis is basically a third option, and they need more. Okay, so here's the thing: you're not getting Keegan Murray from this squad. Okay, you're just not. So I'd be getting basically Kevin Huerter back for Zach, right? I'd be getting Trey Lyles. Okay, I'd argue for Davion Mitchell. Okay, I think that's a pretty solid start in the already. Okay, and I'm aware that Vezenkov is also not getting any playing time, so I'd pick him up and then, you know, throw in Chris Duarte, I guess. Okay, so it's something around this. Okay, it's along these lines, and it's not perfect. I'm just throwing out ideas again, and Sacramento have a lot of picks to kind of work with. Okay, I think, I'm not entirely certain, but I think we can get the 2025 pick from them. No, we cannot. So we cannot get the 2025 pick. So we'd be arguing for the 20. Let's just say no. Let's actually not do that. So I'd undo this, and I'd take the 2026 pick, and then I don't know, just trade me a second rounder, I guess. So this would be the deal. Trey Lyles can't be traded until January 15th because he was re-signed using bird rights, so we'd have to wait till then. That's a trade that you have to wait for, unfortunately. But I'd be fine with this trade. I personally, I'd be all right with this. Now, Noel mentioned the Indiana Pacers, and I do think that this would be a solid move for both the Pacers and the Bulls. The problem is that they're interdivisional rivals, and then you're playing Zach LaVine 4 times every year, which I don't think the Bulls want to do that. So this would be the trade. Okay, I think a lot of people have already kind of talked about this sort of deal, but it'd be along the lines of this. I think the money works out. No, it doesn't. So how much is this? Oh no, the money actually works out on this. If I'm not mistaken, though, the Bulls are taking back too much in that. And then something like this, then, like I think this would be kind of realistic in terms of the players, and obviously the Pacers have picks. So, okay, so screw this. We don't want that. I'd want the Pacers pick, and then just give me a second round pick. So I think this is like, I think this is pretty reasonable overall, but maybe I'm asking for too much. The shooting is bad. Fits really good with the Bulls. Then I mean, obviously yes. I'm guessing you're talking about Josh Giddey, Viper Strike, but I'm hoping that at that point it'd be a brand new team around Josh Giddey, and we're rebuilding. But young talent who move without the ball, high energy players, strong in a few areas, and no, I'm not. And no, I'm the man mentality. We need ball sharing and cutting. Sure, but that doesn't help. That doesn't fix everything. Like, we need talent, right? Like, if you're gonna do a rebuild, you need talent. Like, so Zay over. Just so you know, these trades that I'm showing you right now is what I would trade Zach for. Okay, the trade that I showed with the Miami Heat, okay, I think this is the trade that I at least along the lines of this, is, again, it's not perfect, right? But I think this is what the front office wants to trade Zach for, okay? But these 3 trades that I pulled up here, these are trades that I would trade Zach for to rebuild, because the Miami Heat trade's an example of a trade where you keep DeMar DeRozan and you move forward, which I think the front office is going to do that, and they're just going to screw over the team for the rest of eternity. Honestly, one Alex Caruso, if they give him more back, we'd have to be 100% committed to the rebuild. No, I agree. Yeah. But in the end, like I'm saying, like, we need talent, right? Like, we need talent and we need assets. So, like, I think it would suck for the Pacers, like, getting rid of Benedict Mathurin, and probably does suck, but I think this would, like, actually take them over to the next, like, over the hump in a sense. And here's the other thing that I don't know if you guys are noticing what I'm doing with this, though. Like, sure, we can talk about Miami and we can talk about the Lakers, okay, but I'm telling you right now, I don't want the Lakers what they have to offer, like, for Zach. I straight up don't. I think it's a terrible idea. But I brought up 3 teams that are small market teams, okay? Small market teams should be salivating at the opportunity of getting someone like Zach, okay? Again, I'm aware that Zach LaVine he's not perfect, right? But what small market teams need to do, because they don't have the ability to go after a free agent, right, and sign them in free agency to a massive contract, they need to trade for guys, okay? So these 3 teams right now, in Sacramento, OKC, and Indiana, these are 3 teams that have assets, right, but they don't have, like, that ability they don't have the big market, you know, ability to go after free agents, right? So to me, if you're wondering, like, wow, this seems like kind of a lot in a sense for just Zach LaVine, which I think, you know, obviously the OKC one, for example, I think this is a lot. Like, I don't think that this actually probably does happen. I think this is probably maybe too much for OKC, okay? But when it comes to the Kings and then when it comes to the Pacers, okay, like, I think these packages are, like, honestly kind of legit, because these teams need to do a move like this if they actually want to have a chance of getting, you know, over the hump and actually getting into playoff contention. And with the Pacers, right, they're struggling on defense already, so Zach, you know, is going to come in and just kind of add to that. But they also, I mean, they don't really have, like, the second scorer on their team. As much as I do like Miles Turner, I do have my doubts. As you can see, it is basically Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, and then who? And I honestly think just, like, them adding Zach would do a lot of things for them. So I have my doubts about this sort of deal because it is interdivisional. But I think, honestly, like you said, Noel, I think both teams would actually be okay with this. So who knows? I don't know what AK and Emmy are thinking, unfortunately. You ready, Zach and DeRozan? I've said it. If you trade Zach LaVine, you're trading DeMar DeRozan, and this is what we're doing. I doubt we get anything good enough for a retool. I'm telling you right now, if the Bulls are trading Zach LaVine to retool, they're not going to have enough, okay? If you're trading Zach LaVine, you're flat out rebuilding, okay? You're not retooling. I talked about that if you keep Zach and you trade DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic, then you could retool. I think that you could, okay? But if you're trading Zach and you don't trade DeMar DeRozan and you don't trade Nikola Vucevic, you're straight up just heading towards 37 wins every single season. You're never going to get better, okay? Whole point about when I think of retool, it's not just about the assets that you have, it's also about really changing who you are. And if they trade Zach and keep DeRozan and Vooch, you're not changing a single thing about this team. They're still playing 90s basketball. They still take too many mid-range shots. They still play too slow, right? And they still suck defensively. Or I guess they're pretty okay defensively still if they keep Caruso. But I would have more concerns, especially if they do trade Caruso. Like, that's not a good team. You can't retool if you just trade Zach. You're not retooling. You're rebuilding. Okay. Going on, Law Mob. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, the Bulls did play like the Bulls again tonight. But I mean, it was a disgusting game for both sides. The Magic shot 38% from the field, and so did the Bulls. So pretty disgusting on both ends. As you can see, no one shot the ball well. And I don't know if you know, but Zach LaVine, it seems like he wants out, and it seems like the front office wants to trade him. So we're talking about what's going on right now with those trade ideas. Especially Jerry to fully commit into the rebuild and having to watch a dead arena, I wouldn't bet on that. No, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. So get ready. That's what I'm saying. Get ready for hell on earth for the next couple of years, Bulls fans, because I do think Zach's getting traded, and I think that they're keeping DeRozan. Nobody's going to trade $27 million worth of assets for DeRozan unless we are talking about dead contracts. Lonzo dead, no playoff team / contender is going to offer him more than LMAO exception come free agency. Yeah, I agree. Saw a stat today that the Bulls have lost almost 300 games with Zach so far. That's crazy to think about. That is kind of crazy to think about, but it's also not unrealistic because the Bulls were in a rebuild for a long time with them. Apparently, I don't know if you discussed this tonight already, but Zach has major beef with Billy. Okay, look. So that whole thing still, I don't know why this is still being talked about, honestly. Okay. I'll give it some credit because Casey Johnson has brought it up time and time again. Okay. That's the only reason why I'm even discussing this. But it's also been hella what's the word? Exemplified, over exaggerated from Joe Coley. Like, Joe Coley has took that and like really exploded it, and so it's, you know, spreading around. And then of course Daniel Greenberg, if you don't know who that dude is, he's, you know, tweeting that out, of course, you know, for whatever reason. Sure, maybe that was something that really ticked off Zach. Okay, but it honestly sounds like that Zach has a bigger issue with the team overall than he has an issue with Billy Donovan. Because he made comments after practice yesterday, and it was all about just that this team has been around for 3 to 4 years and we're still in the same spot, right? That was the main quote that I took away from that, and that was him kind of saying like, hey, we've been stuck here for 3 years doing the same damn stuff, right? And we haven't moved forward, so not looking too great. I don't think DeRozan would want to stay. I disagree with you because money talks. Like what Box said. I don't think any team, if DeRozan heads into free agency, I don't think a team's going to be paying him like a ton of money. Like, I think maybe a team is going to like offer him like maybe $15 million a year, so a little bit more than the mid-level exception, right? But like, I don't think a team's going to be offering him that much money, and I think the Bulls are going to be willing to offer him like $30+ million. So I think DeRozan's going to be willing to stay, even if Zach's gone. Who would expect Zach to lose 300 games with Jaren Grant, Kilpatrick, Felicio, Archie, Shaq Harrison, etc. under Hoiberg, Boylan, and truly unbelievable? I know, yeah. It genuinely, like, people need to understand how bad the Bulls teams were when we initially hit the rebuild. Okay, I mean, just think about this for a second. Okay, so the Bulls this season, okay, this is the three alphas, right, with Butler, Wade, and Rondo. Okay, so you trade Jimmy Butler on draft night, and this is the team. Okay, hello, this team sucks. This team is garbage. Okay, and sure, maybe Markkanen should have become something more, right? But your starting point guard is Chris Dunn. Your starting center is Robin Lopez. Okay, your starting small forward is Justin Holiday. Okay, so ask about the bench: David Nwaba, Nikola Mirotic, Denzel Valentine. Bobby Portis was pretty solid. I'll admit that. This team sucks. Okay, they won 22 games this season. No, sorry, 27 games this season. Okay, awful. So Zach comes back in like like late March or whatever it was. I don't exactly remember when he came back, but obviously the team sucked. Then this season they won 22 games, right? This team also sucks. Starting point guard Chris Dunn. Starting center was Robin Lopez still. I think he's still Justin Holiday. Jabari Parker was now here. So it was Zach, Parker, Markkanen, Lopez, Dunn. Like that's still not a good lineup. That's still a garbage lineup. Okay. And remember, Levine's not an all-star at this point, right? Like Zach's not even close to an all-star, or I guess he was pretty close in a sense. So similar team the next season, and y'all remember Luke Cornett, the guy that Jim Boylan was talking about as Robert Horry 2.0. Remember that? So then this is the first year where Zach's an all-star, right? And this is the first year under Billy Donovan, and this team still sucks. It's still the same damn team. They eventually go get Nikola Vucevic, right? But this team still sucks. Like it's not anything cool. And then this is the year we got Lonzo, right? So it's a completely different team. Should this team be a playoff team? Probably. And maybe we're underperforming, but it's still not that great of a team in the end, right? Sorry, I'm catching up on all this stuff. Did I forget Denzel Valentine, Chandler the Man Hutchison? Oh my god, the promise, man, the promise. I think Matt Peck had a tweet the other day about how many players were drafted after Chandler Hutchison that the Bulls could have taken. But, you know, we promised Chandler Hutchison, right? Denzel pulling up from deep. Oh, my God, bro. You think Zach LaVine's shot selection's terrible? Let me show you Denzel Valentine. Worst shot in NBA history. It honestly is. It's up there for the worst shot in NBA history. It's up there. I don't think it is, but it's up there. At least he's shy. You should check what P. Will did tonight. That is also true. At least Denzel did take the shot with time remaining, and Patrick Williams was out here. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Even Russell Westbrook watched that and simply said, "Yeah, it's not a good shot." Yeah, because Russell Westbrook would have taken the three, but at least he would have been a step or two in. What are your thoughts on Vuce to the Lakers? Let me get to that. What do you do, box 0 for 0? Pass the P is what they call. Okay. Let me show you what Patrick Williams did. Okay, so I have this already up for you, Lob Mob. Okay, so first off, the Bulls tied this. Okay, somehow LaVine hit 2 threes at the end to even tie this game up. And Anthony Black missed a free throw, so that helped. The Bulls didn't deserve to have this game tied, but we're tied suddenly. Okay, Banchero then makes a shot. So there's 1.4 seconds remaining. Okay, right here. And let me point this out to you, Lob Mob. No timeouts, right? So you know what happens? Look at Vooch. Look at Vooch. He's calling timeout. Isn't that fantastic? Nikola Vucevic is calling timeout when we have no timeouts, and we knew that we had no timeouts left remaining. Okay, so that happened. Luckily, that didn't get called because that's a technical foul, right? But we see here, okay, again, 1.4 seconds remaining. Caruso inbounds the ball. Patrick Williams with 1.4 seconds remaining. Okay, he takes 2 dribbles. The clock is already at 0. Okay, it's at 0, and he's here with the ball still in his hands. Okay, not even in shot motion, and he throws up that. That's what Patrick Williams did today. I don't know what the hell this dude's thinking. Like, I genuinely do not know. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, I don't know what he's thinking. Okay, and so look, I've been making the whole thing like about tonight, Llama. Like, a lot of people are saying that Zach's checked out, and like, look, I agree. I think Zach's pretty much checked out of this team, and I don't blame him. Like, I truly do not blame him, right? But if you're gonna tell me that Zach doesn't look engaged, Zach's checked out, etc., 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 we had a player try to call a timeout with no timeouts left remaining, and then a player take 2 dribbles with 1.4 seconds left on the clock. Okay, like, tell me Zach LaVine's the one checked out. Like, if you're not even a Bulls fan and you don't know what the hell is happening, and you watch this game, you're probably thinking that Nikola Vucevic has no idea what the hell is happening, and you probably think that Patrick Williams is stupid. Like, you're not even looking at Zach and like, okay, yeah, Zach defensively is bad, sure, but like, tell me that Zach LaVine's the one that's like fully checked out when this is happening. Like, my God, bro. I'm just asking you to keep up the same energy. Just saying. I think Zach's checked out. I don't blame him, but. Like, honestly, bro, if we're gonna talk about Zach being checked out, then what the hell was this? This makes no sense. Okay, so Noel, you want to talk about the Lakers, okay? What's your what's your idea? What's your trade idea for this? Not shot, not he. If he was like, it's my Shackton moment. Honestly, yeah. And how much is P. Will asking for an extension again? Okay, let me just make the record clear about Patrick Williams and his extension. Okay, the Zach Lowe had that quote and it was taken out of context. Okay, Zach Lowe said that he wants a number that starts with 2 but does not end in 0. Okay, people thought that meant he wants more than $200 million or whatever. Okay, I think that was Patrick Williams saying that he wants more than $20 million per year. Okay, which I still think is egregious. It's still egregious. Okay, because like, yeah, but it's not that Patrick Williams wanted $200 million. I think he wanted more in the lines of like 5 years, $170 something million. Okay, it's still stupid, but it's not like $200 million. Okay. We progressively managed to destroy Zach's love for the game. Honestly, yeah. Something around Rui, I suppose. I would like D'Angelo, but I don't know if they do it. So, okay. So, Rui Hachimura. So, I think the money actually works with this. No, it doesn't. Oh, wait. No, I guess it would work. Wait, no, it doesn't. Actually, I think this actually might work. So then, like, I don't know. I'll throw in Jackson Hayes because I don't think he's really playing, right? Like something like this, you're saying? He isn't getting 20 million a season even in China. No, I know, I know. 20 million. Is he on drugs? So the reason why I think this was the case, okay, is because if you look around the rest of the NBA and what was happening at the time, okay, so keep with me, La Mob, okay? Here's the argument for why Patrick Williams would want like $20 million plus a year, okay? Jaden McDaniels, okay? This dude just signed this massive extension, okay? As you can see here, he is getting paid more than $20 million per year, right? So if you look at his total contract, it's like 5 years, $131 million or whatever, okay? If you look at Jaden McDaniels' overall stats, right? Let's just look at this, okay? Like Jaden McDaniels' stats, like he averaged 12 points last season in only like 4 rebounds, but the dude is like an absolute defensive stopper. Like he in my opinion is gonna be up for like defensive player of the year in like years to come. Okay, that's not what Patrick Williams has done, right? Now, what Pat has done that Jaden McDaniels hasn't really done is that he shoots the 3, I guess, a tiny bit more in a sense, but he's also started more games, right? So you look at like their career numbers in a sense, like 9.5, 2.4, etc., right? And you look at Patrick Williams, okay, it's less, right? But I mean, the rebounds are basically the same, and Pat averaged 10 points last season, okay? And he also started 65 games. So there's an argument to be made, right? It's like, well, Jaden McDaniels got this much money, then like I deserve that much money too. Which I disagree. I think Jaden McDaniels is by far a better player than Patrick Williams, but there's that, okay? The other player that got paid that was kind of like in play with all this was Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell is going to get paid basically 29, 27, 27, right? He signed a 5-year, $135 million deal, okay? And I think this is kind of more justified and kind of, you know, everyone kind of looks at it as like, okay, this is better. Devin Vassell has turned into a really solid player on both ends of the floor, in my opinion. So I don't really know what Pat can really do about this whole thing because like these numbers are just astronomically different. The one thing that Pat does have, I guess, is like he played more games the previous season, but Pat also missed the entire season due to injuries. So there's that, right? So this is what's happening of like, well, Pat's looking at this as like, okay, well, they're getting paid this much. And I'm kind of in the same exact area of like, I need to get paid this offseason. I'm up for contract at the same time, right? They play the same position in a sense, okay? I guess Vassell is also like more of a shooting guard. And one has similar numbers to me, right? And Jaden McDaniels. So I deserve then what Jaden McDaniels is getting, or maybe a little bit less than Jaden McDaniels, right? But either way, though, I'm asking for basically like, you know, $20+ million a year. The one argument against him was Denny Avdia, okay? Oh, sorry. Denny Avdia, same draft, okay? Also similar numbers in a sense, as you can see here. Also has started a pretty good chunk of games, but he did not get paid a lot, okay? Denny Avdia did not get paid really anything. If you look at it, he got paid 4 years, $55 million, okay? And he's getting paid basically less each year, and the max he's getting is $15 million a year, okay? I was saying that I'd be okay giving Pat 5 years, $100 million, right? That'd be flat $20 million per year. Obviously, I'm very happy we didn't give that to him because I'd look pretty stupid right now, but I was not going to go ever past that number, right? But that's the reason why Pat was arguing for that money, okay? It has not worked out for him so far. He is taking a very clear bet on himself. Now, we don't know what the Bulls were offering him, but he's bet on himself, and it's not really worked out for him, I'll say. Don't tell people to say no to drugs, bro. I mean, look, I don't want to ever assume that someone is taking drugs, but I will admit that I think Pat's kind of crazy for thinking that. Good idea, P. Will, but we absolutely hate the mentality of P. Will at the moment. Oh, I can't stand how he thinks right now. 20 million is expensive, but I could live with it. That's what I was saying I'd be okay with it. But right now, if that was the case, absolutely not. I would not give him $20 million a year. P. Will talent is not the problem. His heart is, but I see and understand his case. I definitely disagree with it, though. No, I think that's like the right thing to think about, though, Llama. But it's like, okay, I see what you're saying, right? Jaden McDaniels got paid this much money, he has similar numbers to you, etc., but I also am aware that Jaden McDaniels is a much better defender than you, and even though you're a pretty good defender, I think Jaden McDaniels is better, and I also think that Jaden McDaniels is taking a bigger leap than you, right? So, yeah, there's arguments for both ways, but in the end, Pat, he didn't deserve $20+ million a year, and obviously the start of the season has not helped this case whatsoever. Dog not found, motor out there, yeah. As a basketball fan, I would love to see Zach go to GSW in a package that includes play, not that I want to play, to see if Zach would improve them and how what basketball product would look. But GSW would never have the heart to trade Clay. I agree with you a lot, Ma, but let me finish this trade with Noel, because I want to look into this, because he thinks that maybe the Lakers would want Nikola Vucevic in a deal. And I'm struggling to figure this out. I'll get back to you a lot, Mob, because I would also like to see Zach under a Steve Kerr system next to Steph Curry. I just don't think that there's anything that would work out, because I think that the player that would have been involved would have been Jordan Poole, right? But he's gone, and so do they trade Chris Paul for Zach? Like, I think that could be potentially a possibility, but I also think that they actually think Chris Paul is like a legitimate part of their roster. So I don't know. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to figure out this whole, like, if you put in Rui Hachimura for Nikola Vucevic, and I just don't think I can justify this. I will say though that Jaron Vanderbilt has not played yet. Hasn't really played, right? I don't think he's played yet, right? Yeah, he hasn't played a single game yet. So maybe. The problem is after this, though, like, the money doesn't work. Like, if I don't add in Rui or D'Angelo Russell, like, the money just straight up doesn't... hold on. Let me see if I can cook this. Okay. I'm gonna maybe guess the money works in this deal. All I'll say is this: if the Bulls trade Vooch for this, I'd be actually pretty happy with this. Like not even kidding. Like, I'd be happy that we even got someone like Jackson Hayes out of the deal. we obviously would not get any picks out of this, but I wouldn't be upset at this, honestly. If we got Jalen Hood, Shafino, and Jackson Hayes, like, I wouldn't be mad personally. Let me double check with Spot Track here, actually, because I actually want to know if this works or not. Oh my god, bro. The things don't work. Other issues that Vucevic can't be traded for a while. You didn't know. I don't know why they don't have the restriction up for Vuce yet. That's interesting. But okay, I guess we'll never know. Actually, we'll have to wait and see. I think the numbers work out for this though, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, hold on. I need to actually make sure of all this. So, okay. So they're in the tax though. One 125% plus 100. Okay, so sorry, hold on. I'm doing math here. Okay, so 16.3. Alright, this would work. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, this would work. So, I'd have to double check with the new CBA rules. I'm not very up to date with the new CBA rules. That's the part that's kind of throwing me off here. But off the old rules of what I do know, right? This would work. The numbers would work. Obviously, it says no right now because certain players can't be traded, right? But this would work. And if the Bulls did this, I wouldn't be upset whatsoever. I feel like the Lakers would be willing to give up Jackson Hayes and Shafino. I just don't know about Gabe Vincent right now. And I think they'd be willing to do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. And then they'd actually be able to play Anthony Davis at the 4, right? And they wouldn't be having to rely on Christian Wood really for much of anything. So yeah, maybe this would work, Noel. Maybe it would. Give me 1 second. Sorry, nose. Are you really talented when time and time again you dribble the ball off your feet? He has physical tools. He's absolutely raw, but I don't see him wanting it, to be honest. He feels like he plays ball because it pays the bills more than anything else. I truly hope I'm dead wrong with this one. I don't want to ever make that assumption, but I am aware that there are a lot of players in the league that just they're there because they're tall and they make money. So I hope that's not the case for Patrick Williams. But yeah, I will say I have my doubts. Like, and I do think that could be a possibility. What you're saying, Box. Yeah. Lakers definitely want Zach back. I do not want to see LeBron with 2 All-Stars again. No more All-Stars for you, LeBron. Okay, so let me just make this clear. So we're clear about this moving forward. If the Bulls trade Zach LaVine to the Lakers, I'll be hella pissed. I don't understand why they would even do this. But it is AKA and Mark Eversley, so I truly do not know. Okay, so the deal would be this. Okay, it'd be along the lines of this. For Zach. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I got the money right. So I know Shafino would 100% be involved in this deal, and then I'll throw in Jackson Hayes, I guess. And so the money is around this right here. Okay. You probably have to add more because of Zach's trade kicker. So I'll just throw in Taurean Prince for the hell of it, right? So this would be the deal. Okay. The Lakers, unfortunately, they only have 1 pick, right, that they can trade in the future, and it's either 2029 or 2030. Okay. If the Bulls trade for that, that literally gives them nothing. Like, it does not help them in the rebuild, and it won't help them in the near future, right? So I truly do not understand why they would even consider this. I think Zach would love to go to LA. I will say that. Like, I think Zach would love to go LA. Also, the Rich Paul connection. I mean, Zach's with Clutch, right? And obviously Anthony Davis and LeBron are with Clutch, so makes pretty obvious sense, right? But I mean, if you're the Bulls, there's no reason for you to do this. Like, if they're trading Zach LaVine to LA, like, they're, oh my god, I'll be so upset if that does happen. I think just a basketball enthusiast Zach fits in Golden State and Miami. No, I agree with that. I think Miami's a fantastic fit for him. Like, so I don't know if you hear LMAO, but so this is the trade that I drew up for the Miami deal. Now, for the Bulls, okay, because I've said, if you're trading Zach, you're rebuilding, okay? You're trading DeRozan, you're trading Vooch, right? But I think the front office wants to trade to retool, right, and still be content for this season. So this would be the trade that they get, that I think could be happening, and I won't be happy. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Tyler Hero. I'm aware Hero is a pretty good scorer, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. And like I said, I want to rebuild, okay? And Hero doesn't help in a rebuild if you're trading Zach for Hero. But I will say that Butler, Adebayo, and LaVine together, I think, would be a ridiculous trio, and is a very, very good trio for sure. And then you mentioned Golden State, right? So I'll pull up Golden State as a potential idea here. And I agree that I think LaVine with Golden State makes a lot, like, he would fit into the system perfectly. But like we've talked about, I don't know how the hell this works. So the person that they would have to trade is Chris Paul, and like, unless they're willing to trade Klay Thompson, right? Which I just don't think they're gonna do. So this is a part where it's like, I don't know what they're gonna do. I feel like they think that Chris Paul fits really well with them, and here's the thing. Like, the thing the reason why I think Chris Paul is, like, so important to them is because last season we saw Steph Curry was like, he had way too much on his plate last season, right? And I think it was the expectation that Jordan Poole was actually going to give him something, and Jordan Poole didn't turn into much of anything, right? Jordan Poole kind of he didn't play too well, so they need someone to also handle the ball and play make, and that's what Chris Paul does. And obviously Zach doesn't really do that, right? He's just a pure scorer. And so if that's the case, I just don't know what they're gonna do. Like, they're not gonna trade Wiggins. He's too important. But just because we'll entertain this, okay? Who's actually playing more right now? Because I think Steve Kerr trusts Moses Moody more, but I have seen that Kuminga has been putting up numbers. Looks like Kuminga's getting more minutes right now. Okay, so I'll take Moody. And Gay Santos, like, I don't think that's enough money, unfortunately. Unless I guess Zach, in this case, if he's going to the Warriors, I think he'd probably waive. No, actually, this doesn't work out. Hold on. So okay, just throw on somebody. I generally do not care. I know Corey Joseph is actually getting minutes. So okay, sorry, we're throwing Trace Jackson Davis. So this would be the deal. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I think the Warriors are off the table. Like, I don't know why the Warriors would even do this. Like, I think that there's more to think about. I agree though that, like, I think that trading Klay is probably, like, it might be like the overall right decision, but they're never gonna do it. Because I mean, I'll just say this too. So Mike Dunleavy is now the new general manager for the Warriors because Bob Myers stepped down. But I mean, look, if I was Mike Dunleavy, like, even if trading Klay was the right decision, I still wouldn't do it because this this core of Curry, Thompson, and Green, they've gotten you 4 championships, right? I would never do it. Like I would never have the ability to do it. So, but you're right. I think Klay Thompson for Zach actually kind of makes a lot of sense. I think that would actually help the Warriors a ton. But yeah, I don't know how realistic it is. Fortunately, like. So the Bulls would have to they'd have to shed some salary somewhere, but I mean, like, even just through this whole thing, they think that Zach would actually just help them. But yeah, Miami would be ideal for Zach. Yeah. Here's a target version of Zach. Seeing Zach playing for a serious org under a system and a strong leader like Jimmy. Oh boy, I can already taste the salty taste of Bulls fans crying. Oh my god, bro! I'm telling you, if Jimmy and Levine team up, like, that's gonna be one hell of a team. Like, no joke. We lost Strays. Jimmy Butler trade all over again. How could you AKA me? Oh yeah, they like Chris Paul, GSW, and that small ball live by the sword, die by the sword. Yeah, the Warriors aren't going to do it for sentimental reasons. And sending Klay here will be horrible karma for the front office of GSW. Yeah, I agree. Hero's a target version of Zach. Maybe. I'm not, like, I understand Tyler Hero is just, like, he's a pretty good scorer. I'm just not. I just don't put him anywhere near what Zach is, but maybe I should. The dude's just a shooter, though. Like, I don't trust his really, like. Okay, I mean, this is the part that I cringe at. I'm worried Levine is missing layups right now, but like. I don't trust Hero's ability to finish at the rim. This is better. Like, this is better, but it's still not. It's not Levine level. Like, yeah. Maybe I gotta give more credit to Hero, but I like. Here's the thing though. Like, I feel like, unfortunately for Tyler Hero, like, I understand he's been under, he's been under Jim, he's been under Bam in a sense, okay? But I just don't think Hero's ever gonna be an all-star. I genuinely think that, like, he's just gonna be like a 22 point per game scorer for the rest of his career, and he's never gonna get to all-star level status. Like, and that's the reason why it's like there's no reason to trade him if you're trying to rebuild. And if you're trying to retool, I mean, I guess it's one of the best ideas, but it doesn't help you. I think it makes you worse. So, target version of Zach, I'm a discount Zach. I mean, I understood what you meant, Box. Yeah. I'm just like, I guess that is a good comparison. Like, he has the shooting in a sense. It's just he doesn't have really the finishing, and I don't think he's gonna be, putting up averaging 25. He's gonna just be kind of stuck at 22 or 21, right? So yeah, I guess it is a target version of Zach Levine, or discount version of Zach. Imagine how pissed Klay would be at the first press conference when he arrives here and all he's saying, all of the PC, glad to be here, BS, while behind the he's kicking walls and throwing furniture. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think he'd want to be here at all. The thing is that the Bulls wouldn't want him anyway. Like, if they're trading for Klay Thompson, right? I mean, I guess they would think, okay, Klay Thompson next to DeMar DeRozan, etc., whatever. And maybe you get like a pick or something, like maybe you get like 2026 from the Warriors or something like that. But like the whole point of this is that Klay Thompson is a free agent next season, so like you're basically just shedding Zach's money for a first round pick, right? That's the only reason why the Bulls would do it. Like, they're not keeping Klay around. Maybe they actually would, and AKME are stupid. Okay, Klay Thompson's no longer the defender that he once was. Like, if people are gonna think, oh my god, we got Klay Thompson, he's a great defender, etc., I'm sorry to tell you, he is not the defender he once was, and his offense has taken a serious dip. Like, it's just unfortunate. You can't have Zach Zach's finishing without having anywhere near his athletic abilities, to be honest. No, I agree for 100%. And you know, I'm not trying to discredit Hero for what he's done. I think Hero is 1000%, like he's turned into a very good player. But yeah, you're right. And like the best finishers at the rim in terms of guards, right? I'm talking about pure like just guards, right? Obviously Zach's one of the best, but then like Kyrie Irving, right? And he's incredibly athletic too, right? But yeah, like you need athletic ability, and you just don't have it. So the issue is that this organization is an organizational issue. Unless media and fans advocate for widespread boycotting games, protests against AKME and rights, nothing will change. I mean, I think we're all aware of that, football candy, but here's the thing. Look, if you're wondering about NBA attendance this season, okay, the Bulls right now they're not doing great. Okay, they're wait, actually, what? They're actually up here. Really? Where did I read? I read something that the Bulls were 23rd in attendance. Wait, this is only 5. What? This is only 5 games. This only counts for 5 games. What? Okay, hold on. No, okay. Yeah, I know the Bulls with like the most, like they had the most attendance last season. Like I know that. They're 23rd. Okay. Yeah. Look, I've said like don't go to games, okay? But yet tonight we had 19,000 people at the United Center for whatever reason. I don't know why. Like I don't know why people are coming in. And it's funny because there are some Bulls YouTubers that actually go to games and they talk about how much they like people shouldn't go to games, and then they go to games. Okay, just so you know, I've never been to the United Center. Okay, call me a fake Bulls fan, whatever, I don't care, but I've never been to the United Center. Okay, so I've never given Jerry Reinsdorf my money via the Bulls. Okay, I've given Jerry Reinsdorf my money via the White Sox, and that's been unfortunate too, but I've never given my money to Jerry Reinsdorf via the Bulls. Okay, so yeah, I agree that people need to boycott, but are they actually going to do that? I don't think so, because we tried doing that before, right? And it took forever for GarPax to even get out of the front office, even when we tried to do that, right? No one's going to do it. It's Chicago. It's not like Zach has any great layup package. He just gets there faster and also get higher. He's also, I think something that Zach is not credited enough for is that he is incredibly strong for a dude. Like, I mean, he's thin, right? But he's also very strong, right? Yeah, he gets there higher for sure. But that's something I don't think he gets enough credit for. But yeah, you're right. Do you think Detroit would do a deal for Zach? I already saw someone do some Simulate 3 radio for Bulls Detroit thing for Zach. I don't think they will. I saw that from multiple people. I think you're looking at a local Bulls fan on Twitter, LMAO, who I interact with a lot. He drew up a whole like trade for like Jaden Ivey, and the whole reason why people want, like, don't get me wrong, okay? Like if we trade Zach to Detroit, I wouldn't be upset at it whatsoever. So basically, though, the whole thing is that Jaden Ivey is like upset at his role. Like he's benched suddenly when he was starting last season, right? And so then you take out Bogdanovich's contract as well, and I don't know if they'd be willing to go with James Wiseman, but he is coming off the bench at this point, so it'd be something like this, right? I wouldn't be upset at this. I like Jaden Ivey, but I don't think Detroit does this. I don't think this is the right time for them. I mean, they're also like they've gotten off to a terrible start this season too. Like, why would Detroit do this? They should be working their way towards another top pick, because they were in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, right? They lost the most amount of games last season and got the 5th overall pick. As much as I like Ausar Thompson, it's not Wembanyama, and so that kind of screwed them over. Well, those Warriors games have been damn near empty, really? Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that that was actually happening. I like to see the updated, actual numbers for attendance, because it's like, again, I read that the Bulls were 23rd in attendance, so I don't know where exactly that source was, but yeah. Reiser owns the media and the narrative. Remember how the push the crowd against D Rose in order to trade him? Then they make Butler seem like the bad guy after giving him the max. Yeah, they did. Yeah, but let's also remember this, okay? Joe Coley. Okay, you're right about Reiser pushing Derrick Rose out of the city. Like that 100% was Reiser. But Joe Coley was also part of that. Okay, Joe Coley made up the whole fake shit about like Butler and Rose, they're beefing together, and like everyone's upset at Butler because Noah and Derrick Rose were like the leaders of the team in a sense, and then suddenly Jimmy Butler came along, and now it's throwing off the balance of the front office or the locker room, right? Like that was Joe Coley. Let's make sure that's clear, okay? Because there wasn't like this whole like big reporting on that, right? It was just Joe Coley, and Joe Coley did that, okay? But yeah, you're right about Derrick Rose being looked at as the bad guy. Right, that was Reinsdorf for sure. You're still feeling up the 90s legacies. Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I think we all know that box. Yeah, the difference is that both organizations owned by the Reinsdorf groups are in bad places financially, and fall in fan attendance and continuous pushing of it is far more detrimental now. So look, yeah. The White Sox, in terms of attendance last season, they were pretty awful. Okay, and yeah, I want people to boycott the Bulls. Like I'd be completely in favor of that. But I'm just being realistic about this. Okay, I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I truly don't. I don't think fans are gonna really be boycotting the Bulls, because it is one of the things that they still go to the United Center for. Okay, in the middle of the winter, people just do it. Okay. It took a while for, even in the rebuilding years, okay, it took a while for, like, if I'm remembering correctly, it actually took a while for people to actually, like, stop going to Bulls games. I mean, like 2019, look, the Bulls are still second, right? Let's see. Was it 2018? I guess they don't even have 2018, though. Let's see. Oh, they do, okay. But, like, look. This is the middle of the rebuilding years, and that we're still have people going to games, right? This was the year of the three alphas in a sense, right? So it wasn't until like here, right, is when we started to see the Bulls dip in attendance, right? Like again, 2019 we're second. In 2020 it finally started to dip, okay, and so then 2021 we see a little bit increase, right? And then we're back. This is the year of Lonzo Ball, right? And DeMar DeRozan coming in. So the Bulls have just led, right? Until now. So even if the team sucks, the fans still go to games. It's just what they do. And that's something I'm just like, I would like to see the fans boycott the games, but I don't have control over that. So I'm saying let's make smart moves, okay? The front office at the very least doesn't, like, the front office may not have control over what financials are going on, but they at least have control over what they trade Zach LaVine for, okay? And that's something that they can control. Whether, like, and here's the thing, there are front offices in the NBA that have less luxuries than what the Bulls front offices have, right? And they don't have much money. They don't have an owner that's willing to spend any money, okay? They're like, I mean, hell, look at the Pacers right now in terms of attendance. Like, they don't have fans going to games, but yet they still make smart moves, okay? So that's the one thing that I, at the very least, am like, hey, this is something that we can at least have hope for, right? We're the Chicago fans will never boycott the Bulls. They just never will. Like, they should, but they never will. They just straight up won't. So I hope it does happen and they prove me wrong. But in the years that I have seen where the Bulls look like absolute hell, they haven't. They never will. It's always just consistent that the Bulls fans show up to games consistently, and that will never ever change. Everything you're saying, Box, is right. Like, yeah, we chose Hoiberg for God knows what reason, right? a lot of stuff to do in the winter. Like, think about it. Like, it is literally the perfect place right now. If you're ever gonna have a big market team, right? You need to have it in for basketball specifically. Sorry, I should make that clear. You need to have it in a place where it gets cold, because if you're, for example, like if you're down in Florida, there are so many other things to do in Florida in the middle of the winter, right? Now that doesn't mean that like, oh, like the Heat games, for example, like it's not like people like don't attend. Like they do attend, okay, but like there are other things to do in the winter. It's Chicago, right? And in Chicago, it's a sports city first off, and then secondly, it gets cold as hell here, right? Like people are gonna go to Bulls games. They're gonna go watch basketball. Like that's what they do. It's just a tradition at this point. So if you look at it, like their teams have, like the Risers have hit on a jackpot. Okay, it's just straight up facts, right? And you're wondering, like, okay, like for example, like Minnesota, for example, it's like they have like a better team, right? And they're in a cold area. That's just not as big of a city. It just straight up isn't, right? Please tweet it out too. I don't know if it happened, but the greater media pressure, the better. I mean, look, I have 250 followers on Twitter. Like, what's that gonna do? Okay, I have more followers on this channel than I do on Twitter. So if anything, I'm doing more on here saying it than tweeting it out. So I'd much rather just do it here. Okay, I know I'm also more comfortable just saying it here. But yeah, I understand, sure. But look, man, I'm also just aware of the situation. Okay. 70% of season ticket holders make it see 85% of the United Center goers. Sure. Just making more people aware would be good. I don't know, man. I don't know about making more people aware. I think I'd have to argue with people, honestly. After Horrible Boiler was worse. Oh yeah, and the Diamond, who only needs a couple of superstars to make it work. Kitty, Russ, CP3, PG13. You know, yeah, that's a yeah. You kind of wonder why Billy Diamond doesn't want to rebuild, right? Like, have we thought about that for a second? Like, why would Diamond ever want to do a rebuild? Like, what's in it for him? Like, it makes him look worse, right? Like, there's no reason for Diamond to go through a rebuild. He doesn't want to do that. Diamond is a superstar coach. So Diamond's been known as a player's coach, but you're right. I think Diamond is truly known as like the coach that always has the star, like at least a star on the roster, right? We just have to hope somehow someone digs up dirt on Jerry, outlaw Sarver, and forced to sell. There's that, right? If we trade everyone, we would fire him. I don't think that's the case. I think that if it, like, first off, I don't think we're trading everybody, but even if we did trade everybody, I think he'd be the one to resign, then we would fire him. Because if we fire him, we're then paying his contract for the next however many years of who knows how long that secret contract goes on for, right? Like, if we fire him, we're still paying that money. We would legit try to force him to resign before we would fire him. Like, we would not fire Billy Donovan if we traded everybody. We would be like, resign, please. Like, please, for the love of God, resign. Because Jerry's not paying that extra money. Like, Jerry Reinsdorf would be livid if he's paying an extra however many million dollars a year it is to pay Donovan while he's not coaching. Like, he's not going to do that. TB2 did coaching for him when they had that miraculous run. Yeah, we extended him, right? Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's my whole point, though. Like, we extended Billy, and we're never gonna fire him. What if Jay pops up on the Epstein flight log? Okay, first off, I don't even know if that even exists. Okay, if the Epstein flight log exists, but I mean, that would I guess be a way to get Jerry out of town. The other way is him just dying. Unfortunately, like he's getting old. And I hate to say it, but like he is getting old. Unfortunately, Michael would just take over, but who knows, bro? Have we ever heard a secret contract in the whole dang NBA history? That's some next level shady-ish. I feel like there's probably been something with like a secret contract before. And in terms of coaching. when the Rhinestones would do shit like this. Yeah, no, I agree. It's crazy how there is no info on that deal after like a year. I mean, look, this is what happens, right? Owners don't want to do anything, right? They make sure that the numbers aren't public, okay? They make sure that the front office doesn't say anything. Everyone gets paid, right? Billy gets paid, the front office gets paid, and then the Rhinestones get paid. Here we are, right? It's a perfect storm. Welcome to capitalism. Be nice, Mike will take over, runs in the family, and we are doomed. I mean, here's my only like hope, I guess I will say, is that when Jerry does go, okay, and Mike has to take over, like Michael Reinsdorf has to take over, I would at least just hope, okay, that Michael Reinsdorf has heard all of the terrible things that people have said about the Reinsdorfs, okay, that I mean, I think if there's any sort of generation that kind of knows about how terrible the Reinsdorfs are, it's like, you know, millennials and also then Gen Zers, okay? So there are going to be people that are like, we are never, ever, ever, ever going to be working for a Reinsdorf-owned company, ever, because they are terrible owners, okay? And I would, my only hope is that Michael hears all the noise and is like, okay, to save the Reinsdorf name for God knows whatever, he's like, okay, we're selling both teams, okay? Like, we're just gonna sell both teams off. Or someone comes out of nowhere, right? Someone that has a ton of money comes out of nowhere and gives the Reinsdorf some ridiculous offer that they just can never ever turn down, and they sell it, okay? I unfortunately do not know how it all works out. I just know the Reinsdorfs are the majority owners of the squad, but I'm also aware that there's minority owners too. Like, maybe minority owners or something could get involved and like make sure that the Reinsdorfs are no longer majority owners. I don't really know, but welcome to capitalism. Whoever has money has power. Like, it is what it is. It sucks. It really does suck overall. If Vince McMahon is finally out of WWE, there's hope for Sherry. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Lob up. There's not a single Ballmer type to be a Bullsman and buy the team. It has the money, loves the game, and the team. Yeah, I don't think there is, right? Sorry. Like, let's just be real. Jeff Bezos is not buying the Bulls. Like, there's no reason for him to do it. Like, I think he bought... Did he buy an NFL team, if I'm not mistaken? Right? No, he got shut out of the Commanders. Never mind. He didn't buy a team. Okay, so he's not gonna buy the Bulls. Like, why would he buy the Bulls? Okay. Almost 101, yeah. The new guy that bought the Suns also went balls deep. Oh my god. Jesus, is it Suns owner? Is it Matt? Yeah, Ishbia. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he also I don't know what Ishbia is all about, but yeah, I mean, he did that. But even then, right, it was like you said, it was like the Robert Sarver deal of like, oh, Sarver's piece of crap. You know, someone coming in. He hasn't even got a championship yet. I doubt they will with how things are going currently. Oh, Ballmer specifically? Yeah, But here's the thing, though. I applaud Ballmer for being like, I'm willing to spend as much money as possible on the Clippers. Like, that's something that I like. He may not make the correct decisions in a sense for like everything when it comes to the team, and I don't think he's like involved in like team personnel decisions. But he gives up money. Like, that's something that Ballmer does, and I sincerely appreciate that he does that. Jordan doesn't own Charlotte anymore, just saying. You're right. Now, here's the thing, though. If I'm not mistaken, Michael Jordan bought Charlotte for like $300 million. No, not even. $275 million. Like, can you imagine this? Like, this dude bought the franchise for $275 million back in 2010, and he just sold it for $3 billion. Like, are you kidding me, bro? What? That's one hell of an investment. So, by the way, that's where they're playing. I agree. Wait, is that a joke or is that like a legit thing? Because I think Celtics are really good. Oh yeah, they actually won without Brown and Porzingis tonight. What the hell? But Jordan's a whole Warner sold it for $3 billion. What a flip! Yeah, it's a ridiculous flip. Yeah. Well, Jerry bought the Bulls for $9 million back in 1985. It had Michael Jordan already there. Yeah, there's that, of course. Yeah, that obviously helps. I mean, obviously that's a ridiculous return on investment for the Reinsdorfs, but that's obviously 85. I mean, I just think it's insane that Jordan bought the Hornets for that cheap, and then gets $3 billion in return for a franchise that hasn't really done anything in his tenure. Like, they're not really much of anything. And I forget how much. So Joe Lacob, yeah. So Joe Lacob, he bought. Wait, no. Yeah, so he bought the Warriors for $450 million, right, in 2010. Like, that just shows you, like, Jordan, like, barely spent money. And I understand the Warriors are just bigger, right, bigger market, but, like, Jordan didn't spend much money. like, don't get me wrong, $275 million is a lot of money. Like, I'm not rich, okay? But, like, in comparison for what Joe Lacob bought the Warriors for, like, it's insane. It's just insane to me that basically Jordan spent like 200, whatever the number is less. Like, yeah, I guess it's like 100 like basically $200 million less. Like, I don't understand how that even happened, but it happened. Even with inflation, 9 million in today's money would be like 25-30 mil. That's basically pocket change. Is that correct? I don't actually know how that works. All right, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they basically $25 million. That is basically pocket change. It's tough though, because it's like you don't know what leagues are gonna stick around, right? Because I mean, I don't know how much $9 million was back in the day. I'm sure it's obviously a lot more, right? But I mean, you don't really know what's actually gonna stick, right? I guess the NBA at that point probably had a pretty more solid foundation in a sense, but there are definitely leagues that don't stick around. And you can spend a ton of money for them, and then you get nothing in return of investment, and suddenly the league is gone, right? So yeah, it definitely, you know, times obviously have changed, but yeah, it's kind of insane to think about that as well for the Rhinestars, that they spent basically equivalent $25 million today to buy the Bulls back then, which is, it's stupid. Okay. Noel, do you have any more ideas for a Vooch trade? Or is this the only one that you had in mind? Because, like, what do you think of this deal? Like, would you accept this deal? If not, it is already midnight. Do you accept this? Okay. I don't really have any other ideas for Vooch. Like, I generally feel like there's not really a place for Vooch to really go. I guess the Lakers would be the team. I don't know if you guys saw, but Joe Coley made a whole article about he thinks that the Bulls can somehow find a way to trade Zach LaVine for Zion Williamson, and it would also include Alex Caruso. Like, I don't know what Joe Coley's thinking, but like I just don't know why he even thinks that's a possibility. But that's not gonna happen. Jerry Buss gave 68 mil for Lakers in 1979, so comparison is still cheap. Chicago is a huge market no matter what. No, I mean, you're 100% right, Box. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Lakers back then were much bigger and more popular, and they still are that today. But yeah, you're definitely right. It is also insane just to think about that. I can't find Joe Coley's exact article. But I mean, just look at this thing. Like Joe's even like tweeting about it. Like Joe Coley's just tweeting out crap. Like, you just look in the article about it. I'm just here to tell you that if New Orleans does that, then David Griffith needs to be fired on the spot. But like that's not gonna happen. Like you're not gonna trade Zach for Zion. Stop dreaming. It's not gonna happen. If that does happen, I'd be very happy, but it's not gonna happen. So I went over trades in this vid, or sorry, not vid. In this stream about like trades that I think would actually kind of make sense for the Bulls, and if they actually do rebuild, which they should, if they're trading Zach. I'll throw in one more just to end, like, kind of at the end of the stream here. I'm interested to see what Brooklyn does, because Brooklyn is a team right now that does not really have much flexibility. Okay, they're in a weird spot. Okay, Brooklyn is not looking to tank. Okay, they're not looking to rebuild. Reason being is because all of their picks are going to the Houston Rockets. So it's like if the Brooklyn Nets sucked, right? All their picks go to Houston anyway, so it doesn't matter for Brooklyn. Now they did get a big haul back in return, right? After trading James Harden, obviously trading Kevin Durant, etc. So they have some assets to kind of work with, but they're not going to be hitting the rebuild button, right? There's no reason for Brooklyn to hit the rebuild button anytime soon. And I will say that I kind of like the idea of Mikal Bridges and Zach LaVine together. I think that's a pretty solid overall idea for Brooklyn. And other thing about Brooklyn, like they're not going to have like salary cap space moving forward. Like they're obviously over the cap this year. Let's see. So this is if they like let go of Nick Claxton, they don't re-sign Spencer Dinwiddie, etc. So like they don't have money for this offseason either. Okay, so the next time they would have money is this offseason. Okay, so I think Brooklyn is not going to be like looking to actually go after guys in free agency. So if I'm the Bulls, okay, it's not the best thing in the world, right? Like if we're gonna be trading with Brooklyn, it's not gonna be the best return, okay? But you know, I want this Phoenix pick, right? But in terms of the other people that I get in return, right? Sorry, I'm losing my spots here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Cam Thomas has become this like crazy player suddenly. So maybe they don't do this, but here's Mikal Bridges. I've talked about how like, so if we remember last season, okay, so Mikal Bridges, when he got traded to Brooklyn, okay, he like took off, right? He averaged 26.1 points per game. I said I don't think that's sustainable for a guy like Mikal Bridges. He's averaging 20.3 points per game now. His 3-point percentage is just down the drain for whatever reason. But obviously with Bridges, like I think Bridges is more than just like a 3-and-D player. I think he can legitimately be like a third option on a team, but I don't really see him being the first option. And I think Zach kind of next to Mikal would be kind of nice to look at. Obviously Cam Thomas is kind of taking over that team a little bit in terms of the scoring aspect, but I'm trying to think of like an actual like deal that could like work out in a sense. So Cam Johnson, the issue with Cam Johnson is that he's already pretty old. He's 27, so it's like you're trading Zach LaVine is 28 for 27-year-old Cam Johnson, which that doesn't make any sense, right? The big person I would love is Nick Claxton. Okay, now the only reason why, like, you're thinking like, why would they do this? Okay, the only reason why that this could be a possibility is that Nick Claxton was only signed to a 2-year contract. He cannot sign an extension with Brooklyn. And he's obviously going to want to get paid. So there's that going on. So I'll just take out Cam Johnson. So you take Dinwiddie, and you take Royce O'Neal. I think this would actually work out. Yeah. So like this would be kind of the idea. Okay. I'm a big fan of Claxton. I'll just say, you know, you take on Dinwiddie for whatever and trade him later. And then you take on Royce O'Neal's contract. You get a first round pick out of it. Like I think I wouldn't be upset at this, honestly. I wouldn't be happy with Cam Johnson though. I'd be a little bit upset about that if we got Cam Johnson out of it. Man, Zion got super overweight and all he can die in Chicago. You can't stop him from eating everything here. I will say yes, Chicago food is very good. New Orleans food is also very good. I've had both. By the way, go to New Orleans if you ever have the chance. It's a very great place. Yeah, I mean, I would be concerned about Zion's weight here. I will say that. But I don't like the body shame. So. Atlanta trades for Vooch. They also seem kind of stuck in mediocrity. I think Atlanta's kind of hell bent on they're actually going to trade Capella as soon as possible. And just going to let Okongwu start. Like, I don't see really because Atlanta just paid Okongwu, right? Like there's no reason for Atlanta to go after another center because they just paid Okongwu. They paid him like really good money. Sorry, trying to get back to work. So if you're looking at Atlanta, okay, I agree that Atlanta's stuck in mediocrity. That's because they traded 3 first-round picks for DeJounte Murray. Okay, but Okongwu, if you're looking at future contract for him, like he got paid a pretty decent chunk, as you can see here, right? So I think that's their starting center in the future, and there's no reason for them to go after another center right now. And I think that they're actually going to try to trade Capella soon, because there's no reason to keep him around, honestly. All right. We're gonna go ahead. I just want to say this to you guys. The Bulls are gonna suck from here on out. Okay, they're gonna really suck. I'm gonna say a few things, and we're gonna do the Pirtle, and then we're gonna end stream. Okay, but so don't leave just yet. First off, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I know it's late. know it's middle of the night, it's midnight, etc. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and talking about with all this stuff and our pain with this Bulls team. Okay. When it comes to Levine, I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna be sad to see Zach go. I'm assuming that he is gonna get traded. Okay, so I'm not in like the whole thing of like let's try to keep Zach. No, he's getting moved. Okay, I think Zach's been very misunderstood here. The dude was never the guy here. He was never looked at as the guy in the trade. He was kind of like a throw-in a sense in the Butler trade, right? He's a guy that I think a lot of people have not exactly seen like really what he actually is and have always been focused on what he doesn't do. Okay, Zach has turned himself into a two-time All-Star. He's still an All-Star caliber player. He is a very efficient when he's playing right scorer. Okay, and teams want that. Okay, and with the modern day NBA right now with threes and dunks and layups, okay, Zach brings that. Okay. He's literally just a professional scorer, and if you haven't realized, if you've watched the Toronto Raptors, they don't score the basketball, right? There are teams out here that struggle scoring the basketball, and they want Zach. Okay, so I have faith that teams are gonna want Zach. I don't have faith that the front office is gonna trade him for the right things, and I think they're gonna trade him to retool and try to win with DeRozan and Vooch, and not actually get the rebuild plan. Okay. I have officially been shifted to the rebuild side because with Zach wanting to leave, I'm officially out. Like I'm not here for the whole retool if Zach's gone, because I don't see the point in it. But this front office is stupid, and I'm expecting this front office to do the wrong thing. But either way, because of what has been happening, because of all the rumors that have been said, and because I don't think that the Bulls are going to be trading Zach until December 15th at the earliest, let's prepare for the worst, okay? But I think that this is something that we have to just get prepared for, that this team, before they trade Zach, after they trade Zach, and even if they decide to hit the retool button, what we saw tonight is a good example of what is to come, okay? Not making shots. The defense is pretty okay, but we can't hit a damn three. We're gonna see lineups that can't make any damn shot. Like, it's gonna be hell. Okay, it's gonna be hell on earth watching this team moving forward. Okay, and the rebuilding stuff is gonna be so difficult for us to get through. And I'm just gonna pray that the Bulls land on somebody. They land on somebody that is actually gonna change this franchise, because we know that the Bulls' lottery luck is that they're just gonna land on 7th overall. They're never ever gonna get anything higher. So here we are. I'm gonna be here still. Okay, I'm not here. I'm not here to, like, suddenly abandon you guys when the Bulls are going to be in full out rebuild, if they actually do decide, and when Zach gets traded, I'm not going to, like, abandon it. I will say this, though, that I'm going to continue to be doing, post-game streams, and doing streams about the Bulls and stuff, but when, I guess I should say if the Bulls do actually hit the rebuild button, okay, I will be kind of shifting some of my content around. There are other things that I am also interested in, and I'm also, like, pretty big in terms of analyzing. And I think that I have built an audience here in terms of the NBA stuff, and I'll always have you, right? I'll always have this community here. But if the Bulls do hit the full-out rebuild button, I do plan to not always be doing just this. Okay. There's going to be some other things that I would like to kind of look into as well. Again, I will always be doing this no matter what, but I'd be adding a little bit more and spending a little bit more time on some other things. But for now, that has not happened yet, so I'm still here. I'm still here to still talk about everything that's been happening. And obviously, even when Zach is traded, like, I'm still gonna be talking a lot with you guys and still doing post-game streams. So don't be thinking I'm going anywhere, even though that things are gonna be changing with the team. Hi Delbert, love you, bro. But Zach sucks. I've been saying it. I mean, what's your definition of sucks? He's another J.R. Smith, Kevin Martin, flashy score, and that's it. I completely disagree with that analysis. Zach scoring compromises the growth of the team and the seen these archetypes before. I disagree with that as well. Okay. Let me show you something. Okay. Does Zach LaVine have issues passing the ball? Sure. We can talk about that. But at no point has he ever averaged more than like 20 shots per game. Okay. Russell Westbrook, okay, who has been known to have been like a major, like a really good passer, etc., etc., etc. Okay, he averaged 24 shots per game. He averaged 22 shots in a half per game. Like, this dude shoots a ton. Okay. James Harden. Okay. Years that they're shooting at ridiculously, like, they're shooting a ton of shots. Okay. I'm gonna bring up one more person. Here's Zach. Okay, the most he has averaged ever is 20 shots per game. Okay, that was this season. Even when he averaged 27.4 shots per game, he averaged 19.4 shots per game. Okay, you have to understand how much Zach has not been surrounded by good players in his time with the Bulls. Also, Zach has never been in the proper role for him. Okay. Zach's been asked to be the playmaker, to be an initiator of the offense, to have to also be the dribble driver and also be the shooter. Okay. Zach, in and of itself, is a finisher. Okay. He is not a guy that is supposed to be playmaking. He is not a guy that's supposed to be initiating offense. He's not a guy that's supposed to be dribbling the basketball all the time. But because the Bulls have built a terrible team around him, no matter what point of his Bulls tenure you want to look at, okay, he's been asked to always do more than what he really should be asked to do. Okay? And because of that, he has never been put into the right position in terms of actually being able to get the most out of him. Sure, you want to argue with me about the lack of defense? Sure. We can argue about that back and forth every single day. I'm here to argue about that. Like, I don't care about that. All right? There are many other players in the league that also just suck at defense. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Okay? But in the end, this dude has never played with a point guard, like a legitimate point guard, except for Lonzo Ball for 35 games. Okay? He has had the worst spacing out of every other player in the damn league. Okay? In the past 5 seasons. Except for maybe Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's the other player that you could argue about with. Okay? This man turned himself into an all-star when he wasn't supposed to be the guy with the Jimmy Butler deal. Okay, he turned himself into an all-star when the team sucked. Okay, the front office went and traded for Nikola Vucevic, who doesn't pair with Zach whatsoever. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, so you want to tell me all about how Zach sucks? I hope you really start looking into other teams and understanding of, like, compare LaVine to what you actually think where a player does suck. Okay? I'm not here to say Zach LaVine is the best player, should be treated like an absolute superstar, should be treated as if he is a franchise face. I've never said that in my time of covering Zach LaVine and being a fan of Zach LaVine. I have never said that he should be the guy. Never have said that. Okay? And if you think that's the definition of a player that sucks, just because that he isn't the guy on the roster, then I really hope you go look at someone like Klay Thompson and tell me that he does suck too. Okay? Zach needs to go to a place where he is finishing plays. He's not initiating plays. He is literally being asked to just put the ball in the bucket. Okay? We're going to help set you up to help you get good three-point looks and help you get finishes at the rim. And you just need to just go and do it. Okay? That's what he needs to go do. But here, he's being asked to be like a point guard at some moments, also be the dude that has to play make, and also be the dude that has to go off ball when he probably shouldn't be off ball in some moments. He has to play next to a guy, DeMar DeRozan, who needs the ball in his hands constantly, but is also not a floor spacer, right? Like, there's a lot that it goes against what Zach does, like what Zach is mostly supposed to do. Okay, he is going to be traded. I have no doubt in my mind that this dude is going to be traded. Okay, and for people like you, Delbert, that's probably, you know, your time to rejoice. And you know what? I'm happy for you. Okay, but in the end, what we should not be doing is saying that the reason why that this team failed is because Zach LaVine, it was the reason. Okay, the reason why this team failed was because the front office and the terrible team that was built. Okay, you want to include Zach LaVine in being part of the terrible team built? Fine, go ahead. But let's also make sure that we blame the right people and say who actually sucks. Because right now, in my eyes, the people that do suck, their names start with Arturus and Mark. This isn't about what Zach doesn't do, okay? This is about what the front office has done and how terrible of a team that they have put together. True, Chris, that was the main piece in that trade. You have a great mind for real. No, he wasn't the main piece in the trade either. I think Lauri Markkanen was the main piece in that trade. Like, I genuinely think that Gar Pax were more interested in Markkanen. Okay, they wanted Chris Dunn too. Like, they wanted Chris Dunn, but I think Zach LaVine was literally the salary filler. Okay, like he was looked at as just like, okay, you know what? We need to get somebody here because we need to match contracts, etc., etc. And you know, Zach's injured, so we'll take him. My thing is that during those trash years, he could easily take more than 22 shots a game. He never did. He's actively trying to invoke other guys. You've seen full quarters of him trying to get other people the ball and ignoring himself. Yeah. Look, there are definitely moments where I think Zach needs to pass the ball. I'm not denying that he doesn't have those ball hog moments. Okay, he has those moments, sure. But if you're gonna try to explain to me that like he is like an absolute ball hog that like never passes the ball to anybody, that is always constantly searching for his own shot, like I want you to go look at some other players first before you make that assumption, because like I think a lot of people also just don't understand modern day NBA. But like, let's just look at Derrick Rose for example, because I honestly think that Bulls fans have like gotten like they've legitimately have gotten like they've never ever had like a dude that was like always taking a ton of shots. Like they've always thought team basketball, etc. So Derrick Rose, when he averaged 25 points per game, he averaged 19.7 shots per game. That's the most, right, that we've seen since obviously Michael Jordan days, right? But then it's Michael Jordan, okay? So we've never seen like another player that is like always like trying to like take a ton of shots, right? Like Zach doesn't even fall into that category. Zach is taking basically the same amount of shots that Derrick took in his MVP year, okay? Even then, that's not a lot, right? So I think that a lot of people don't understand, like, the Bulls have never really had like a true ball hog dude besides Michael Jordan, and then he's the GOAT. So we just ignore that, right? They just had too high of expectations for Zach. Well, what? Let me ask you this: what were your expectations of Zach LaVine when he was traded here? Okay, let me ask you that. These teams ain't been the best either. No, they've sucked. These teams have sucked. Was also on a very good team with no other scoring help either. Not Dang or Boozer could actually create their own shots consistently. Right, yeah. I mean, Derek never really played next to like an actual shooting guard until like Jimmy Butler came along, and then Derek wasn't in his prime, really. There are fighters and great defenders led by a very good coach, but the teams were badly constructed still. So yeah, so when the Bulls were leading the Eastern Conference, right, like that was obviously this man here. Like it was all this man. Like this dude was doing like a ton, right, to make sure that the Bulls were at the top of at the very, very top of the Eastern Conference, right, and you know we're fighting against Miami, etc., etc. But let's also just think about this for a second, right? That team had a lot of issues. It was mostly just defense, and then Derrick Rose was Derrick Rose, right? There wasn't like a secondary scorer in a sense besides Deng, and even him, right? You don't want Luol Deng as your secondary scorer, right? Alex Cruz to Sacramento. I feel like they would pay the most for Alex. Ooh. I'm just doing this for now. I'm not saying this is set in stone. Oh, crap. Sorry. Oh, I'm stupid. I don't know if I get the extra first round pick in this, but I don't know. Something like this. Sorry, ADHD brain. Sorry. I see something, I want to roll with it. I'm intrigued. I'll say that. My only issue is that, like, I have a problem with like Davion Mitchell right now. Like, I'm like usually like a lot like in on him, but like I feel like if we're just trading for Davion Mitchell, it's like we're just basically getting like Alex Caruso but worse back. And maybe it would be okay with the pick, but he's 25 already. Like, I don't know. I'd have a tough time. That's the reason why I put him as Zenkov, because I don't really think that like he's playing, right? Like I guess he is kind of playing in a sense, but I think he could be playing a lot more. Very 28th though. I don't know, but yeah, I'm intrigued. I'll say that for sure. Thought he would have been a great scorer and athlete, which he has been easily, but at the same time I thought he would be more of a leader that could maybe lead us to playoffs. And a better defender with a higher IQ, feel for the game. By the times he reminds me of Carmelo and J.R. Smith, or like Jerry Stackhouse. Okay, let me just say this. I think J.R. Smith, first off, is like he's gotten just a terrible rep from that one moment with LeBron in the finals. Okay, I think J.R. has been kind of looked at as like a really stupid player. I think he's a lot smarter than what people actually give him credit for, and I actually he's a better defender than what people also say. So okay, it's just the Carmelo Anthony thing. Like, first off, I think Melo was just very clearly a better scorer. Like, Carmelo Anthony was very clearly, like, he's a better scorer than Zach. Okay, Melo is going to be a future Hall of Famer. I don't think Zach's on that trajectory. I mean, we're talking about these numbers when it wasn't even like modern day NBA, like modern day NBA, right? Like, these are just like more, like, these are insane numbers just to look at, right? So sure, maybe it's a good comparison because Melo did not bring any defense whatsoever, but I also think that I would actually say it's more disrespecting like what Melo actually did in his time. Look, I understand where people get to, like, with the Kevin Martin comparison, or like, you know, the off the bench comparisons where they think of like James Harden when he was coming off the bench in OKC, etc. Zach's too good to be an off the bench player. Okay, like he's too good to be coming off the bench. Okay, I'm aware that, like, yes, his defense in terms of his off-ball defense is not very good, but you have to also think about this, for example, okay, that he has never really been on a team that has like any sort of like really good defensive support in terms of like the back line, right? The best that he had was Wendell Carter Jr., and then we know how that turned out, right? He has always had to be more involved on the defensive end than he probably should be. Okay, think about it. In the team he's on currently, right? DeMar DeRozan is like the low active defensive player, right? He's the one that does the least. Okay, Zach has to do more than DeMar DeRozan on the defensive end right now, as this team's currently constructed, right? He doesn't have a rim protector whatsoever behind him in Nikola Vucevic. While Vuce, I think, is a good positional defender, I don't think he's a rim protector by any means, okay? And while, yes, he had Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball, which that was when the team was winning, right? Even then, so Caruso wasn't starting, right? So I think it's important to recognize that Zach has never, like, what you need to do with Zach, right, is he needs to either be actually like either the on-ball defender, okay, because his off-ball defense is much worse, right, or he needs to be the low active defender, okay, which means that he's not really doing much of anything, okay. We have seen teams do that with Isaiah Thomas, 5'9", or honestly 5'7" Isaiah Thomas, okay. If a team can do that with Isaiah Thomas, of all people, okay, then they can do it with Zach LaVine, who is 6'6" and athletic, okay. I understand that maybe you wish he was more of a leader, but I'm also aware that's not his job. He wasn't coming here to be the veteran presence, okay. He was traded here because the Bulls decided to rebuild, right? And he just so happened to be the best player out of the three that they got back in return at the moment, right? But that does not mean just because he's the best player that he has to be the leader of the team, okay? There are many times that I have watched teams that I'm just like, okay, that's the best player, but then they're not really leading the team in any way, but there's different leaders on the squad, right? Just think of the for example, like the 2008 Boston Celtics that won the championship. Like, you can argue who the best player was. I think it was Paul Pierce, okay? But I would argue that Kevin Garnett and even Rajon Rondo were like bigger leaders on that squad in a sense, because you could tell how much that those guys were like actively like yelling out to people and making sure that the team truly was on the same page. Sure, Zach's getting paid a max contract, but in that max contract, it does not say that your requirement is to be a leader for the team. Okay, Zach's here just to play basketball, right? He's here to put the ball in the basket. That's what he's done for many, many years, and that's why he got paid. So it's not like he's supposed to be a leader, right? So yes, I agree with the defensive stuff. His defensive IQ and his defensive overall position-wise, it's bad, sure, but there are many ways to get around that, and there has never been a team that can get around that with Zach for whatever reason, okay? And so you're gonna argue with me saying like, well, Zach's the problem then, because that, like, why should you be trying to work around it? And I'm like, look, I'm not even saying that like a team needs to do a lot to work around it. They just need to have just a better overall defensive identity, okay, that makes sure that Zach is doing the least amount of stuff on the defensive end and make things simpler for him, okay, because that helps everybody. Like, it's not just like a whole like, oh, this is a Zach problem and that he's the problem for whatever reason. The Bulls were 5th defensively last season, and I think that they have defensive issues, okay, but they were ranked 5th defensively. So I think that should kind of tell you that, like, even on a team where there is not very good defenders on the team, right, especially in the starting lineup, if you're worried about the defense of Zach LaVine wherever he goes, okay, that it shouldn't be a problem. Because wherever he does go, there's going to be better defenders than what they have here right now. Unless he's going to Portland for whatever reason. I'll give it an all-time grade for not for his bad choices. He would have heard George Karl's advices, but he chose not to. Then he chose the money of New York over substance and competing. Yeah, I think that's mostly correct. Yeah, the Ron type of all-time talent was definitely there, always just not Hall of Fame because he definitely not just Hall of Fame because he is definitely gonna be Hall of Fame. Oh, got it. Yeah. Mel is 1000% a Hall of Famer, okay? And it's not just because of his scoring, but it's also because of his FIBA time. He's won 3 gold medals, right? But yeah, I mean, his NBA career is a Hall of Fame career. Like, there's no doubt about it in my mind. That's the differences between leaders and best overall players. I like that. I mean, look, I think Steph Curry is the best player on the Golden State Warriors, but I think Draymond Green's the leader. Like, straight up. Like, there are many instances that you could look at where it's like, there's the best player, right? But there's very clearly a different leader, and it's not the best player, right? Zach LaVine, he's not a very vocal guy. He's pretty talkative in a sense, but he's not a person that's gonna get aggravated and up into your face. He's not gonna be the person that's going to be telling people, hey, you need to go do this, right? He's pretty overall just chill. I mean, he's not quiet like Pat, right? But he is overall just the one that he's on the quieter end, right? So sure, maybe that's not ideal in a sense, but that shouldn't be the reason why you think that Zach LaVine is 1, sucks, or 2, is a problem. Jeremy's always the one saying and telling, calling out people who play his defensive assignments. Yeah, I think it's pretty evident, and obviously that worked, right? I mean, I'll even say this: when Kevin Durant was on the Warriors, okay, you could argue who the better player was, like if it was Steph Curry or Kevin Durant. Like, I don't even care who you think that was the best player. Draymond Green was still the leader of the team, okay? And I'd even argue that Andre Iguodala was more of a leader than Steph Curry and Kevin Durant were when it was that team put together. Like, you can have guys that are not the best player or even the second best player still be leaders of a team, and it works out well, okay? So let's just keep that in mind. Like, I actually think that, like, one of the things that I will say that it's interesting to me, like, I think in Philly, for example, like, I don't know if Joel Embiid is like the leader there. Like, I think a lot of people look to him as the leader, but like, I don't really see like him as the leader in a sense there. And yes, they've lost 2 in a row now, but like, I actually think like maybe like even PJ Tucker in a sense was the leader there, and he obviously got traded. So it's like, I don't really know who the leader is there. Maybe Patrick Beverley in a sense. Maybe even Tyrese Maxey. I think Tyrese Maxey is actually like pretty vocal, but like, anyway, we're gonna get off track here, but look, I'm fine if you think that Zach LaVine is like he's not, you know, he's not the guy on the team, which I agree with. Okay, if you think that he's not the second best player on an actual winning team, that's fine too. Okay, you're allowed to have your opinion on this. Okay, I'm not here to be saying you're flat out wrong, all right? But when it comes to this sort of discussion, when I hear people say that Zach LaVine he's basically just like a role player that had like more opportunities here, like I don't think that's true, first off, and secondly, he's not that. He's better than that, Okay, he's better than just a role player. Okay, I think that needs to be clear. So I just hope that people start to look at it differently when it comes to Zach, and it's not just that we're looking at constantly what he has failed to do, but let's actually look at the fact that if he didn't turn into anything, where the hell would the Bulls be right now? Like, they wouldn't have anything to trade now. Like, it would be terrible where the Bulls would be. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to blast the music. I actually did that. Sorry. I think it's going to be a rebuild, just a retool. I think you're right, Zayover, and if that's the case, then I think it's a terrible decision by them. That's also another terrible thing in the construction of our team. So many players are basically no in-game leaders. Beverly Italy took that role in a couple of days. Yeah, 1000%. I think obviously Caruso is like the in-game leader in a sense, right? But that there's not enough, right? Like, there needs to be more. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say for today. More thoughts because Zach's not gonna get traded tomorrow, right? I think I'm gonna go ahead and take Friday off. The Bulls do play the Magic again on Friday, so don't expect to stream Friday, but expect to stream. Actually, no, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna stream Friday. Don't expect to stream on Saturday when the Bulls take on the Heat in the back-to-back. I need to go do something on Saturday. Once again, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. Delbert, like, look, it's nothing personal, obviously. I mean, we're all here just to talk basketball. And I appreciate your input, honestly. I'm not here just to pick on you. I'm not here just to say like all your opinions are bad. Like, you're right that Zach defensively has problems. Like, I 100% agree with you on that. But I also just think that your analysis of where Zach is as a player overall, I think you need to maybe look into things a little bit more. Because it sounds like that, like, because you mentioned Carmelo Anthony, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, if you're saying that, are you trying to tell me that like Melo is like a glorified like role player that only scores the ball and shouldn't have gotten as much praise? Because I think that's kind of crazy. Like, Melo's a Hall of Famer, so maybe you only like really value like two-way players or players that play defense only, but there are many players in this league that don't really play defense and only impact on the offensive end, and they are very, 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 very impactful players. Thanks for straight dug opinion, Nexus. I appreciate it, Box. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you catching the stream. All right. Either way, though, let's go ahead and do the Pirtle for today, and then we'll call it a day. It's late, and I gotta go and work with some of my friends on a couple of things. Where, if you guys know Valorant at all, I'm working on some things that are I'm not playing, but I'm like kind of like coaching a team. In a sense, or not fully coaching, but like helping the team in a sense. So we're kind of working on some stuff, but okay, Pirtle. All right, random name that just random comes to mind. I think last time I did this was in the Western Conference, so I'm trying to think of an Eastern Conference player. Let's just do Sadiq Bey. No, I did Sadiq Bey before. Let's not do that. Let's do Bojan Bogdanovic. Okay, Eastern Conference is a forward, is also 6'7", not in the Central Division. He's younger than 34, and his number is lower than 44. Okay, so a forward that is exactly 6'7" in the Eastern Conference. All right. Because I'm just thinking simply. Okay. Oh, I forgot Jimmy Butler's also third. Okay, my bad. But we know that they're not in these two divisions, so that does narrow it down a little bit here. Okay. I can never remember each division correctly. So they're in the Atlantic Division. All right. Wait. Sorry, hold on. Yeah. We'll do Finney Smith. Okay, so younger. We're still looking younger. Not Brooklyn though. Is OG Anunoby 6'7"? He is. Ah. Aha. All right. OG Anunoby is the Pirtle for today. So sorry if I ruined that for the rest of you guys for the rest of the day. But OG Anunoby is the Pirtle for today. So there's that. Last but not least, before I go head out here, I want to give a quick little look at what happened to the rest of the NBA today. Let's see here. So the Phoenix Suns just absolutely destroyed the Timberwolves, and this is the first game where we saw Booker, Durant, and Beal play, right? Right? No, we didn't see that. Okay, I guess I'm flat out stupid. I thought Bradley Beal was playing today, but I guess I'm just wrong, or I'm blind. No, I'm just wrong. Okay, well that happened. Anthony Edwards, not a good shooting night. All right, I was keeping track of this game. So Cavaliers did beat Portland in the end, but this was interesting to look at the time. So the Lakers lost to the Kings. Okay, so obviously this happened. What is up with Anthony Davis, bro? I can't stand when I see that sort of stuff. Big game from De'Aaron Fox, so that's nice. Okay, cool. And then this was obviously the marquee matchup of the day. And unfortunately, Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis didn't play, and yet the 76ers lost. No Joel Embiid. Oh no, Embiid did play. So I don't know, how the hell did the 76ers lose this one? I'm gonna go back and watch this one because obviously Tatum, White, and Holiday looked like they performed pretty well, but I don't think the Boston Celtics should have won this game, and yet they won this game. Embiid wasn't in foul trouble either. It looks like they just straight up just decided like we're not gonna let Embiid score, and Maxey didn't have a good enough game to help. But this is interesting to me. Yeah, I feel like 76ers should have won this one tonight. Yeah. As I said, Aaron quit right after that. All CSGO toxicity levels. Yeah, that's Valorant, unfortunately. Yeah. Embiid only shot 4 free throws. There's your answer. Well, even though Embiid didn't shoot that many free throws, I'm just like confused. I'm like, because like I'm not like shocked at this number in a sense of like 20 points. I just feel like this team should have just won. Like, what? Who are you trying to stop over here? Like, you have Tatum and Holiday, but yet you let Derek White get 27 points. Like, I'm gonna have to rewatch this game. I didn't watch this game. I'm gonna go watch it because that to me just doesn't make any sense to me. But you know, it's NBA. Bucks look like they're finally getting back on track now, and the Mavericks beat the Wizards, so that's nothing new. Okay, so Thursday. Oh, this is actually some nice matchups. I'll say that, but no Steph Curry, unfortunately. In-season tournament. All right, so yeah, I'll probably be back on Friday. The Bulls play the Magic again. Okay. So I'll probably be back on Friday just to go over a few things. It won't be as long of a stream as obviously today. I wanted to talk about the Zach LaVine stuff a lot today. We were able to get through that. Yeah, no stream Saturday. That's a back-to-back, and I'm gonna have to take that day off for multiple reasons. Yeah, and we're gonna have to see what happens with this team moving forward because now, I think Zach's getting moved, right? I want this team to go down. So Bulls are 4-8. They can obviously get below these teams if they're gonna pull out rebuild, but I don't know if they're actually gonna do that. We'll see what DeRozan does because personal matter today, obviously. I hope things are all right for him, but I won't be shocked if we saw the last time We saw DeRozan's last game in the Bulls uniform already, but I feel like he wouldn't be the player to just kind of sit out games. So we'll see what's going to happen moving forward. I think that we're really going to be seeing a lot of teams start to swarm this Bulls squad and start looking into if anyone's available. So we'll be paying attention to all of that as we go through the season. But appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. Bulls lost in a very ugly game that was disgusting to watch, and I hated my life every minute of it. But we watched it together in pain. And the Bulls facing the Magic yet again at the United Center on Friday. Do not go to the game. I recommend do not go to the game. Let's start making sure that Jerry Reinsdorf feels his pocket's getting empty, hopefully, which will never happen. He's too rich. But yeah, I'm just gonna say don't go to the games. Let's stop supporting the Reinsdorfs at this point. It would be a good thing. But sorry, I'm reading something. Oh, sorry, I got a copyright thing, and it's just for the music I'm playing. It's nothing too big, but I'm just aware of it. Not a copyright strike though, so that's obviously good. All right, that's gonna do it for me, y'all. Thank you for hitting the like button on the stream tonight and hanging out with me tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see y'all on Friday. All right. I don't even know what I want the Bulls to do now. Do I want them to win? I don't know. I truly do not know anymore. I think I actually want the Bulls to lose from here on out, which is kind of crazy for me to say. But if that's gonna actually spark the rebuild, then it is what it is. All right. See y'all. I'll see y'all on Friday. Peace, y'all.